sci-fi survival horror story game. This is our fourth session of five of a scenario called Haunted Station. Let's go around and just introduce yourself with your character, with your pronouns. Um, and we were talking offline, Daniel wasn't here last week, so we're going to have the other two, Alan and Will, spend a little time jogging your memories and tell Daniel what he needs to know, what's been going on last session, and I will fill in the gaps once they have done so. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with Daniel, and you won't obviously know anything about the plot from last time, so just tell us about yourself and your character, what you remember.
Okay, so hello, my name is Daniel. My pronouns are he, him, and I play Roy Franklin, who is a very young and somewhat reserved security officer from the Gibraltar. And he has revealed himself to be part of a religious group which is called the Church of Singularity. Which are worshiping some kind of simplicity and in the universe, and somehow this church has been hunted by the authorities a lot on Earth and other places because our church is anti-expansion, anti maybe against. Technology and all the stuff that are giving complex things to the galaxy. So yeah, so this is my drive to see what how this place aligns with what we know and how I will react to it.
All right, thank you. Let me mention too, our fourth player, Paul Celestine, the scientist, will not be with us today. So their character will be around, but they'll have plot armor. They'll stay alive no matter what. But let me move to Will then. Tell us about yourself, your character, and remind us all, especially Daniel, what you remember from last time.
Oh well, I mean, I cheat because I write it down what happened last time. So hi, my name's Will, pronouns he, him, unlike those of Lee, the medic on board the ship, who used to actually work on Haven, was in fact a patient that was rescued by them before joining the crew of Gibraltar when they dropped off Captain Cream Wilson, our erstwhile owner of our ship, which is of course shredded. But then there's always the matter of the insurance payment. Um, that's probably a lower priority than just staying alive for all of us right now. Last session, we revived a patient who was being experimented on in the back room after we'd, put out the fire and killed the remaining working Joes. It was Blaine, a security officer from Haven, who ultimately revealed to us that he is basically some sort of corporate spy on the down low. And he wants a copy of the AI intruder that Stelline installed on the station because it's some sort of like advanced kind of experimental tech. So he needs a copy of Stelline's rogue AI, basically, to take back with us. And he says he can make us all very rich if he does so. Um, we went through the station. We were basically trying to get up to Stelline's area still, the private area still. And we got split up actually because we reached a hull breach that was around the lift, cutting off the main passage. So we had to try and work our way back through. And as we were trying to work our way back through, a tall, black chitinous creature unfurled from the ceiling with a long tail, something that none of us had seen before, but Amos has, and obviously the audience has seen many, many times. And Lee basically led it away from the rest rather than try and, rather to avoid the big alien jumping down into the small crawl space with all of us trapped in there. And so Lee led it off, got separated from the rest. The rest went through the maintenance ducts into the main lift shaft so that they could traverse around the hull breach, and in doing so, passed through a small like alien subhive with a bunch of eggs and cocooned people. And Celestine actually calmed Amos down from going all kill them all in down there. And yeah, that's where we left that group, was making their way out of the hive and back up into the main areas of the lifts and everything, whilst Lee fled the alien, locked herself in the cryo vaults. The cryo vaults have been breached by something. There are bodies floating in the gravityless chamber. It's hard to tell how many of them still are alive in those vaults. The the cryo vault area is kind of like on its own redundant power, but it's sort of separated from the ship. And as she sort of took some stims for the bruised ribs that the broken Joe gave her and passed out from the pain, she woke up to find the terminal in front of her, a message from Dr. Stelline herself, trying to reach Lee. Dr. Stelline can clearly see Lee through some sort of camera in the cryo labs area, and that was the cliffhanger we ended on. Was I'm so sorry, Lee. It's Dr. Stelline. I had to contain them all. Kind of thing.
And she said, I had to destroy your ship, something like that, right?
Yeah. Stelline was the one who blew up our ship. And I'm not going to do the obvious thing. I'm going to go with the cinematic conceit and not just ask her, why didn't you just send a fucking radio message, love? Like, it would have been so much easier than blowing us up. I'll run with the fiction of, like, of course, because it's it's a movie, right?
Okay. Thank you. Alan, tell us about yourself, your character, and fill in the gaps, anything that Will didn't cover.
My name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him, as are the pronouns of Amos. Amos Ames as was, former Captain Amos Edwards as is. It was revealed, I can't now remember if it was at the beginning of the last one or the end of the one before that. So I can't remember if Daniel is aware of this, but Amos is a former captain in the Colonial Marines. He was the military liaison for Weyland-Yutani, or a military liaison for Weyland-Yutani, and was by mistake copied into some messages and some files relating to a woman called Ripley, apparently rescued and with some ludicrous tale of how her crew had been destroyed by some thing. And ever since we've been here, there have been signs to Amos that actually Ripley's story was true. And certainly, having now encountered a chest burster in Dr. can't remember his name, Syndergaard.
Yeah.
And having to blow him and the chest burster apart. So the whole acid blood thing, the chest burster thing, and then we encounter both that chitinous full-grown alien that chased Lee off. I think in Amos's mind, it was more a matter of it chose to chase Lee rather than Lee led it off. And yeah, so we ended up in the kind of maintenance ducts, and in this I think it's not the lift shaft itself. I think it's a maintenance shaft going up alongside the lifts, which had all this kind of resin. It had the remains of, we assume, members of the crew or patients, some of whom were dead, some of whom may not have been dead. And Amos decided to sacrifice Katri by drawing attention to Katri, so that the rest of us could make our way to one of the entries into the lift. And Celestine has berated Amos on this, and left Amos with a kind of condition. I will automatically fill my stress track if I fail to follow through on a promise to Celestine to confront the monsters the next time rather than run from them. So the clock is ticking for Amos, I think. In his mind's eye, I think he imagines trying to avoid contact, so he isn't confronted with that promise he's made. He's also still slightly concussed, which I think might be why he is reacting slightly irrationally on occasion.
Okay.
But I think we left it in that lift compartment.
That's right. You had gone from that maintenance shaft into the elevator shaft per se. I think we actually had you like standing on top of the elevator in the shaft.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, great. Let me see if there's anything I need to fill in. But first, let me tell you, safety-wise, we've got the Gauntlet Code of Conduct. We've got the open door. We've got lines and veils. Let's remind everyone what we got. We got sexual assault for lines, consensual sex, and harm to children as veils. And then we have the X card. If everything else should fail, you can always X card. Let's get going. Somebody, I've forgotten for 3 sessions in a row or 2 sessions in a row to ask you if it's okay to put it on YouTube. So somebody be sure to nudge me if I forget again today at the end. As I think Will mentioned, you've met a NPC named Blaine. His card is at the top of the tabletop. He is played by Jesse Ventura, and he is former governor of Minnesota. And he is, his card's there up by Falade. And he had, I think the only thing to add to what Will said, he indeed wants to get a mirror, a copy of the base code of this experimental AI that Stelline apparently has. He already has a fob that has the similar code for the original AI, which is called Haven. He has gotten a copy of that he's carrying around with him already. And he has said that he will, if you guys are able to get this other code and get off the station, you all will be rich. I think it's probably clear from what people are saying, and this might have even been true when Daniel was with us last. It's pretty obvious that these two AIs are battling each other. At various times, each of them is trying to kill you or help you. It kind of goes back and forth. But it's clear that they're at odds with each other and trying to take control of the station and mess with you. Let's see what else. I don't know if Will mentioned it, but he discovered that your Captain Cream Wilson is down in this. He mentioned the vaults. So these vaults are this large cylindrical looking chamber with hundreds of these cryo beds float, or some of them are floating. There's a lot of wreckage floating because it doesn't have any. There's no gravity in the vaults. But adjoining to these vaults, apparently there's a chamber called the Synthesis Lab, and he's identified through using a computer that Cream Wilson is down in this Synthesis Lab. Several times in the course of our game, Lee has made promises to go back and save, or to go back for people that you left behind, whether it was your shipmates, Stiles and Hawkins back in the landing bay. There was an unnamed person that you made this promise to go back for in the memory bay that you ran from. And then
I didn't make a promise.
Okay.
I made Amos promise to do so.
Oh, okay.
Because nobody's asking me for a promise because I'm the only one who seems to care about.
You did in I think our second session, you did flat out, tell. I mean, I think Hawkins said to you, "Will you come back for us?"
Oh yeah, I did.
And you said yes. You definitely did
for
that.
Hawkins. I said I'd come back for Hawkins. Yeah,
but then you made Amos part of that whole agreement
yeah.
also. Okay.
I just want to distinguish between a promise and an assertion.
I actually asked you, promise me.
Yeah, and I
dialogue.
did. I
did.
Yeah. I did. Yeah. It lacks the mechanical hit of the promise to Celestine, though.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it does. Yeah, entirely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was true at the time that Amos said it, right? Like Amos can change his mind about the odds of being able to go back for those people. I wouldn't be like, oh, but you promised.
I think what we know of Amos is that it may or may not have been true when he said it. It was convincing when he said it.
I think though mechanically it had to be the truth when you said it.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think it was during the course of the calm someone down move. Yeah, I think that might have been true. Okay, so and as Alan referenced, he has this mechanical pressure on him to stand his ground. If he doesn't, it's going to have some serious impact on your stress. because we had learned that Celestine, we hadn't fleshed it out too much yet, but we learned that Celestine is an apocalyptic creature, which has quite a few mechanical little bits and bobs that go along with that. In fact, the only card we don't know yet is Roy's agenda, which I think people were suspicious about when we were at the end of our last session. I think Celestine actually suggested that since she wins the game, the win condition on her agenda is that if no one with a selfish agenda is able to win, then she can win. So she was saying maybe we should just kill Roy because he's the only wild card, because the others don't really have a selfish agenda.
Well, we'll see about that, right?
Yeah. So I think it's pretty clear from the summary. Lee is off on their own in sort of a control room overlooking the vaults. But the others, which include Roy, Amos, Celestine, and our remaining NPCs, which are Glover and Blaine, you're all in this elevator shaft. And let's start with the five of you then. I'm going to jump forward a little bit, assuming that you're going to, go up this elevator shaft to Celestine's level. Do we see you having climbed down into the elevator and then just rode up in the elevator, or have you climbed up the shaft? What do you think, Daniel? Let's put that one for you. Do you think you guys climb up this elevator shaft, or do you just jump down into the car, open up a hatch, jump down in the car, and then ride it up?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, let's maybe try to climb it.
Okay. So I think we see you, maybe like mechanically on the inside, like somebody's have to wind something to actually open the door. So we see these elevator doors screeching open, and the five of you pulling yourself out of the elevator shaft, gasping with breath after this strenuous climb up this elevator shaft. And you enter into sort of a landing outside the elevator, and it's clean, it's well lit here. It's pretty bare though. There's probably not anything out here in this landing area. There are no other passageways out of here. Clearly, you would ride the elevator up here and land here, but there's this giant door. There's this giant, very solid, blocking a nuclear silo type door, in front of you. And as you arrive, there's a chung, and it slides open, or it probably pushes open these doors. And you see as they push open, they're about 3 feet thick of solid steel. And these doors open up, and you can see into the garden level. All right. So it's this extremely well lit because I'm going to assume you step forward and you look around, and so the garden is this huge area. It's a garden. It's like a park, really. The whole top part of the station. Let me kind of show you the map in case it's not clear. So the central spire of the station, at the top of it, it ends with this garden, and then higher up, presumably there's the penthouse. There's these slanting, it's sort of like the inside of a pyramid, almost like you're inside. So there's these slanting walls. I actually have a picture too. Let me get that. It's this lush, well lit by natural light from the star. And you can see maybe the moon. I think we described that you're orbiting a moon. So maybe you see the moon, in the distance outside these windows. And there's greenery, all on this floor level, but also kind of on the slants. There's areas where there's, trees and bushes and stuff growing. You hear the chirping of birds even. Maybe you see some birds, kind of maybe a few flying around. And sort of on the other side of the garden, there's a elevator shaft, a glass elevator shaft. It's all glass rising up. This very large elevator shaft rising up, and you see way up there, maybe 100 meters up, you see that there's some sort of, like I said, like a penthouse. There's some sort of space up there. And again, it's all glass up there too. You can kind of see some orangish light and whatnot coming from that penthouse. But you're down in this lower level, and there's this sort of I don't know, what would you call this, like a landing or a space here where, it's probably, I don't know, 15, 20 meters in front of you. There's a path that leads to it. And you see that there's these comfortable looking chairs around a table. And the table has, as we described in the Alien universe, usually you guys are used to, the 99% use very, very simple rundown equipment and technology, but the 1%, the top people, the rich and the powerful, have incredibly, several generations advanced technology, and this is an example of that. There's this table, and it's projecting all of these screens, and the screens are clearly showing all of these computer processes running at incredible pace. It's a hologram. It's a holographic projection of the AI and what it's doing. And sitting before it is a young woman sitting. She's got a flowing long dress, simple dress with no shoes. She's just sitting there, and she's looking at this hologram, sort of wiping her hands, moving screens around and whatnot. And she's a strangely familiar looking young woman. And she, next to her, sort of like curled around her feet, is one of these worm creatures, which I don't think any of you met, but Celestine has. One of these worm creatures. It's about the size of a small pig, and it's long. It's whitish, but it has these thousands and thousands of these golden cilia that are like sort of like always, twisting and turning. It seems to use it for sensory purposes and for mobility, and it's just sort of like like a dog curled around her foot. And she is, like I said, she's engaged in doing something with these holographic projections as you guys appear. What do you think you're going to want to do? Let me put that to Alan. What do you think, Amos?
Well, I think Amos wants to just assess the situation tactically. He wants to, what's the best line of sight on this? If she or it turn out to be a threat, I think he has to assume everything is a threat. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he wants to assess this situation tactically. What's the best route to that elevator? What's the simplest way to avoid drawing their attention, if possible? Stuff like that.
All right. Let's do an investigate then. I think that'll be the move for this. So when you have appropriate fictional positioning, you may search for information, a person, or a thing. First of all, share a story. I've added some notes based on what we talked about last time about, when to tell stories and stuff. So we're in Act 2. So what we do is in Act 2, you can only tell a story if the PC or someone else at the table wants to flesh out an aspect of the PC story. So if you want to tell a story, or do you want to
no. I mean, we know that he has military training. We know he was an officer. So I don't think we need to justify any benefits he gets.
Okay. Describe what you're hoping to find or discover.
I think if this is threat analysis, are there any of these chitinous things lurking in the vicinity? Sure. Because just to be clear, this blast door that we've gone through. Mm-hmm. It sounds like it would be very difficult to have got through that door without somebody noticing.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, it's
we're not in cover. If she wants to be aware of us, she's aware of us.
Right. It made quite a bit of noise opening.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, she's not that far away. Like I said, maybe 15 meters or so. So, and it's fairly quiet. There's the chirping of birds, but other than that, it's pretty quiet in here. So it's likely that if they have ears that work, they probably heard you. But yeah, you're just threat analysis. Great. Describe how you put yourself into danger like an idiot.
Well, of course, it's by going off into this undergrowth, to get a particular view. So maybe he thinks the attention is going to be on the group, so he can melt into the undergrowth and just get a slightly different angle on this.
Okay. Let's go to the cards then. So you get one card for nothing. Do you have an expertise that would help do what you're describing?
Well, I suppose that I would claim colonial marine background.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So that takes you to 2. Do you have the perfect tool for the job?
I don't think so.
No.
It's lit here, so his pen light doesn't really apply.
No.
He also has concealment.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything that would give you significant advantage?
Well, I suppose there is the undergrowth and his ability to make use of it using concealment. It might not be sufficient for
Right.
somebody else, but together that would add
Well,
up.
this is the investigate. It's not the concealment, though. So we'll take that into account, but I don't know if that would be significant advantage
Okay.
for looking about. So I think you're at 3. You're at 1, 2 cards, and then finally, do you want to push yourself and take a stress?
No, not at this point.
All right, 2 cards when you're ready. The resolution deck, it's shuffled,
Yeah.
it's ready to go.
There's edge and
All right,
triumph.
starting off right. Okay, so on a hit, in addition to finding what you're looking for, you find out something that moves the plot forward. On a triumph, you find something especially useful. The person is friendly and helpful. The object you find is advanced or in good supply, or the information is detailed, allowing for a follow-up question. Let me tell you a little bit, and you can think about what you want to do with your triumph, what kind of special benefit you want, all right? And then let me know. So I think the basic findings are that you look about and you don't see any other obvious way to get from the greater station into this garden area. You don't see any vents, you don't see any other doorways, other than this incredibly massive door that you just came through, which, by the way, is starting to shut. You don't see anything else. Moving the plot forward, this woman, you realize, is from the stuff you've seen, the pictures and whatnot, whether it was before the ship exploded on the way here or pictures you've seen since you got here, this is clearly Dr. Stelline. This is a much younger version. The pictures you've seen so far have shown her as an older woman, like in this picture. But looking at her a little more closely, you realize, the facial characteristics and whatnot, this is her as a young woman in her 20s. In addition, you see, you startle, maybe you say you go into the brush a little bit, and you startle when one of these worm creatures sort of like unwinds from one of these, maybe a small tree above you, and it's sort of like, you see it kind of hanging down, sort of like right near you. But it doesn't show any aggression whatsoever. It just sort of like just worms along, with no concern whatsoever. So that's the basic, I think. What else would you like to know, or what would you like to do with that triumph effect?
I think in terms of my objective, I'm not sure. Is it possible that? No, you've said there's no way to get to the elevator other than kind of through this open space.
I mean, you could go around. I mean, think of it as sort of, like I said, it's sort of like a triangular space. So it's, this base level, you could move, through the brush, and kind of come around to the back, which is where this elevator, this glass elevator rises up. You could, yeah, I think you could avoid this sort of central area if you wanted to. I think, though, let's see. Do you want to find something? Do you want to ask a question? Yeah, Daniel, you're there. Is there anything else you would like to know?
I can't think of anything specific.
I'm sort of drawn to this woman, so I want to maybe check out what she was working on.
Sure.
So if I can, I don't want to approach her to say hello. But just want to walk slowly toward her a little bit and try to see a little bit more about what she's doing.
Sure. Okay. I think, let's see, what would be useful here?
I've thought of my triumph. My triumph is that I am concealed. from where I have observed this, because I think Daniel's moving on to a different kind of action.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that then. I think, Daniel, you approach a little closer to be able to see what's on the screen. I think it would be interesting. I think you see that like I said, there's all of this in this holographic projection. There's all of these processes going, and each of them has sort of like a part of the screen. And she's wiping and swiping and fiddling about with lots of them at a very rapid pace. But what seems most prominent that she's looking at and dealing with is something to do with the vaults that. And certainly, which is probably not surprising given what we've seen so far, most of these processes are showing that she's trying to take control or maintain control of the various systems and parts of the ship. But this vault area seems to be very prominent in her focus right now. And it seems as though the AI is really battling hard to try to take control and maintain control of this vault area. Okay. I think as you get closer, she sort of like leaves the process. She stands up, she turns to you, and she says, "Hello, Roy. I'm Dr. Stelline."
Hello, Dr. Stelline. Can we help you with what you're doing? You seem a little bit worried.
Yes. Really, it's more important that I help you, though. I'm afraid there's not really anything you can do to help me, but I'm glad you finally made it here. She kind of like speaks loudly out, towards the brush area. She says, Amos, you're safe here. You can come out. There's nothing to be worried about here.
Well, of course, that is absolutely what worries Amos. So he will emerge from the undergrowth with his auto shotgun on her.
Sure. She goes, please sit. I know you've had a very rough time getting here, but you're safe now. We hear the chung as those huge doors, finally close. You're safe here. Nothing can hurt you here in the garden.
Why do you want to help us? Except for, being safe. What do you want with us?
There's really nothing, I guess, from you. Being safe, I guess, is all I can provide to you now. I'm afraid you can't leave. You have to understand that I can't take any chances that Haven might escape the station, whether, on your computers or for the creatures to get, out of the station, but also digitally, the information that the AI cannot leave the station. If it does, it's going to spread. It's corrupted.
So we are all doomed anyway, right?
I mean, I think the remaining days will be pleasant here. I've got plenty of food and water. I have facilities, to make you comfortable. And as she says so, like another woman that looks exactly like her steps out of this sort of like, going back to the picture, I think there's like sort of like a little building there. And stepping out of this building is another woman that looks exactly like her in the exactly same dress and carrying sort of a platter of like drinks and refreshments. He says, you should make yourself comfortable. We're going to be here for as long as possible. And eventually, we're going to have to destroy the station. But
what's Blaine's reaction to all of this?
You look around and you don't see Blaine. He seems to have disappeared. I'm going to play a card, actually. I'm going to play non-monster threat. A non-monster threat becomes active hostile, furthers their plan, or enters a scene. So someone has furthered their plan. So yeah, you don't see Blaine, but Glover just drops down to one of these seats and he just starts he holds his head and he's just sort of like softly sobbing. He clearly is overwhelmed. I think you had given him the fire axe. He drops the axe. He's just he's overwhelmed, clearly. In fact, Amos, you're feeling really dizzy, pretty miserable yourself. You feel a little nauseous and dizzy. That hit that Celestine gave you seems to have rattled your brain quite a bit here.
Okay. Where's threaten? Is that manipulate?
That would be manipulate, yeah.
That said, I'm not sure it'll work on someone who is either synthetic or a clone, because there are multiples. So maybe that's not the way to go with this.
Let me let's actually just check in with Will. Let you guys think a little bit. How about we do that? Do you guys think of what you want to do next?
I mean,
we'll leave you there.
The cutaway shot was clearly as the second Stelline steps into the view, right? Like,
right.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
Adverts roll.
you're not going anywhere. Make yourself comfortable. All right. Let's move. We flash to the vaults. So again, the vaults. You're sort of in. I think we left you in sort of this operation center overlooking the vaults. So through this glass, you're at the
control room for the cryo
we see the screen. The screen goes black, and there's this lit up huge vaults area. You know, there's stuff floating around in the 0G, and you know that there's this synthesis lab, and you can kind of look out the window and you look down, and you can kind of see down at one end of the vaults. There's this lit up window. That apparently that's the synthesis lab. Okay. So what do you want to do next, Lee?
Did Stelline sever the connection once she said a message?
That's
okay.
Right. If you wanted to have a little bit more back and forth, feel free to do so.
I mean, I guess all I would have had to do back and forth would be for some way for Lee to know the same thing that Roy and Amos now know, you know, about like Stelline's goal is to keep the Haven AI that's been corrupted, just so that I'm in the loop meta-wise, you know, as a player.
I think she says,
because I would have asked her why, you know.
Yeah, I think she said, why did you destroy it? She says something like, we can't let Haven leave the station. Come to the garden. You'll be safe. I'll keep you safe. It's the only safe place. Something like that. Your friends are coming. Your friends are coming. I think that probably ends there. That's ominous.
Connection terminated.
Right. And then maybe in the middle of finishing that sentence, it dies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Shit. And I look around the control room. And I am going. I see Captain Wilson down in the synthesis lab, which I think we said was accessible if I traversed through the cryo.
There's like a hatch. Yeah, there's like a hatch. You push a button, it'll open up. It'll give you access into the vaults, and then you can either we'll pick up from there. But that would give.
I'd like to suggest that, like at the start of the scene, you know, with Lee, right, you could hear the thud of that thing, like down the corridor and array, right, and as it ends, it's gone, it's stopped. Who knows, right? Oh fucking shit! And she rubs her eyes, and then I'd like to search the command room for some gear that may help me out, because I think like I'm imagining these cryovaults as kind of like, you know, because they have these redundant capabilities, almost as in that like it would be a place for, it'd be a refuge as well for like emergencies as well, almost, you know, or for people. So I'm looking for, what is it? Is it a safety move? Investigate. Yeah.
Let me throw one more thing. I think the realizations of where you're at with Stelline. I think Amos and Roy, go ahead and take a stress. which means, Roy, you're going to be overwhelmed. So when we come back to you, you probably should do the overwhelmed move. So while we work on Will here, go ahead and take a look at the overwhelm move, kind of figure out what you want to do to try to relieve some stress. Otherwise, as I've said before, when you're overwhelmed, if you don't immediately take that overwhelm move or get your stress down one way or the other, I will take control of your character and have you do something silly. Okay. Okay, Will, you wanted to investigate. So similar to what we were saying before, do you want to throw in a story here or you want to skip that part here?
I think that the story is just that Lee does take a moment and just puts one hand up on that glass, and you see a tear go down her face as you just see like the bodies floating and the damage to it all, and maybe that is a quick flash to like
Right.
when she came out of those pods herself, like
True.
looking for help, and these people can't be helped anymore.
Mhm.
So I would like to then.
What are you hoping to find or discover?
Oh, well, what I'm hoping to find, right, is maybe like a sort of like a pressure suit type thing. Maybe not like a pressure suit, but something that's like what you would maybe like not qualified for space, but for like moving through the interior of here, right? Like mag boots, maybe like a radio, like that kind of like basic sort of the most cheap basic sort of suit that you could get in Alien.
Sure.
It wouldn't protect you
Sure.
from space. It would
Right.
maybe help you move through like a place that wasn't in like absolute zero, but had bad atmosphere or something. Perhaps I'm just
Yeah.
kind of trying to reference like have the way
Sure.
of having the headset and boots in the same place, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. And to make it clear, I think you kind of know this, but it has no gravity, but it does have atmosphere,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, that's what I mean.
it has pressure.
Yeah,
So,
the
but yeah,
atmosphere part is just more me like trying to rationalize fictionally why such a
sure.
thing would exist in the same piece of gear, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. How do you put yourself into danger like an idiot?
Oh, I mean, it's the length of time that thing was chasing me. It's here. It,
Right.
it was right behind me. Like I did get through away from it, but obviously the longer I spend in any area, the more likely it is to come after me, right?
Right.
Um,
It's like in Alien Isolation, when you can hear the creature, it's somewhat of a relief because you know where it is. But when you don't hear it, then you
it could come
know that
straight out that vent
it
above
could.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly. All right, great.
cool.
Let's draw some cards. So you get one card for nothing.
Yep.
Do you have any expertise that would help you here?
I am quick-witted.
Okay, I like it.
Yep.
Do you have the perfect tool for the job?
No, I don't have the perfect tool for the job. God, do I use my used to the work here
Once a
thing to get
session?
myself significant advantage once a session? No, I won't do that.
Okay.
So that's
Do you
just
want
two
to
then.
push yourself, take a stress?
Yeah, I want to push myself. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you had relieved all your
I'll
stress.
save that for when the alien comes after me again.
Right. All right, we see you looking about somewhat gingerly because you do have those bruised ribs still. But go ahead. When you're ready, draw 3 cards.
That's an edge. That's a good start. An opportunity. I will. Let me have a quick look at the move again.
Triumph will let you get something extra, basically.
Yeah, I'll take the triumph.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you find what you're looking for. In addition, you find something that moves the plot forward. And then think about what you want to do with the triumph.
I know what I want to do with the triumph entirely.
Okay. You do find what you were looking for. So you can add to your equipment, mag boots and, a headset. And even I think it's fair, it's probably all part of a sort of like a work suit, just in case, maybe it's a little bit padded in case the gravity messes with you, you have a little bit of padding in case you fall. It has a little bit of, a capability of having at least a enclosed, space in case of gases and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it
like
like it's like it's got a mask, a rebreather, and stuff like that, but it's not like pressurized and armored and like radiation proofed and everything.
Exactly.
It wouldn't protect you in space. Yeah.
Right. It'll protect you in space for like an extra 10 seconds or something.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Before it explodes from before you explode. Yeah. But what I find as a triumph is that one of the reasons that one of the places that these suits is in the like emergency cache, like kind of like underneath one of the floor panels kind of thing, moved away in this big red box that I pull open. And alongside the maintenance suit, there is a motion tracker.
Oh, perfect.
Because in Alien Isolation, the motion tracker is also like how you pick up like people's IDs and life signs and stuff. So like it'd be perfect for finding people in the event of a station emergency kind of thing.
Sure.
So I've got my
Sure.
motion tracker as well. Yeah.
Perfect. You want to turn it on?
I think she's pulling herself into it when she glances down at this. So she's in the suit, she's put the suit on, and then she picks up the thing, flickers on. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that the sort of conceit is that she types in, she's going to turn it on and type in the code for Captain Wilson's cryopod.
Okay, so I think there is indeed maybe it picks up the PDTs, which of course Haven has installed in the the shoulder of each of the people that have been put in cryo sleep and whatnot. It does pick it up down there. There's no movement down there. That sign is now there's all kinds of other movement, all this floating stuff. In fact, it's a garbled mess in this place because there's so much movement going on out in the vault.
I hear a voice go, "You're reading it wrong, man." Like,
right.
Yeah.
So it's a garbled mess, but it is clear that indeed, Cream Wilson is down there in that synthesis lab.
Cool. I mean, I'm happy to step, with all of that, like, as the suit comes on and, the radio, I think though, like the very last bit to just be like, and then she just grabs the radio, starts fiddling with a dial, and she's going like, Styles, come in. Styles, come in. Okay. We can cut away there if you want to go back to the other guys.
No, let's stick with that. I'm curious to see. Yeah, that would be interesting because that'll help move the part of this too is moving the plot forward. So I like the idea. It's very crackly. In fact, it's very laggy. It's sort of whatever whether the digital or radio signal, whatever it is, it's the voices and stuff. It's very laggy and crackly. It's a very bad connection. But you pick up Styles. Go. Lee, is that you?
Styles, lock yourself in the shuttle. There's fucking things out here. You can't trust Stellene. The station's going to turn to kill us all. Get in the shuttle.
He goes, Hawkins, you hear that? It's Lee. And Lee comes on. She goes, you doing all right?
Hawkins, just get in the shuttle. You can't.
Well, yeah, we're in the shuttle. Look, we've got it working. We cleaned out the computer. We got it back to factory specs. And but look, the signal. It looks like there's like a carrier beam or something. We got it behind the firewall, but it looks like whatever your signal. We're gonna have to cut you off because it looks like something's trying to break into the computer coming on your signal here, and it goes silent.
Oh yeah, I mean, I mainly. Like the whole purpose of that was just I wanted the NPCs that we brought with us to not be sat in their ship going like, oh, I think that's the others when something comes down the corridor towards them, right? I wanted them to be warned and to, if you'd said that as I answer it, I just hear a Lee. I would have been happy with that.
Maybe that'll come later. But you did learn that apparently your shuttle is in working condition. It sounds like from what they said.
Nice. Now we just have to deal with whatever blew up the spaceship for it to get out of the station. Cool. I step out into the void or into the vacuum, into the.
So I think what happens, and let's set the stage for that, and then we'll switch back to the others. So I think you push this button, this hatch opens. So first of all, you push the button, and then you start floating. The gravity stops inside this operations room. You push the button, this hatch opens up. And we see you pull yourself out into, and there's a ladder that you can take that goes down to like the surface, of this sort of cylindrical area. So you could walk along, the surface presumably towards the synthesis bay, or you can just float you can just sort of like float your way that way. It's up to you. So we'll come
Um,
back to you.
Yeah, I
Go
think
ahead.
the last shot is of her, is of those, like, it cuts to the feet as she, like, Magnus presses the button and it just goes, zzz, and I'm
Yeah.
imagining it a bit like those boots in Face Off,
Mm.
like a little less advanced than the Expanse's magnetic boots.
Okay. I don't remember that, but I did finally watch the first season of Expanse, so I know what you're talking about with that. So I'll take it down a notch from what they have. Um, all right, so let's switch back to the others. So I think we see, unless you had different ideas, I think we see each of you kind of sitting at this table. A few moments later, there's glasses of water. Glover's trying to drink some water. He's probably eating like a little sandwich or something. He's clearly in a very bad state. Amos, you're feeling like shit. You feel like you're gonna puke. Like looking at the food makes you want to puke. And the two Stellines are just standing there. One of them is going back to looking at the computer. The other one standing there says, "Is there anything I can do to help you? You don't look very well, Amos."
I'd like to investigate. I think that this is not Celestine's drugs. I think something else here is affecting me, and I am. Do I use my move?
Well, I'll tell you that you feel. I think you have enough military background. I mean, Celestine probably says as much. She says, "I might have hit you too hard. I think."
Oh, I see. Okay.
I think you
fine.
might be concussed.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Right. So this is the concussion I started with.
Yeah,
This isn't
yeah.
some more recently affected thing.
No.
I see.
She says, I think Celestine, as a doctor, sits you down, looks at your eyes, and checks your pulse, and says, "Yeah, I think you have a concussion. Would you like me to help you?"
No, the last time you helped me was no fun, and I'm going to be. I want to behave badly. Can I behave badly to Celestine? It seems a bit bad behaving badly to Celestine.
Yeah, there's
Celestine's not here.
There's as an NPC, I think it would be lose it. Describe how you lose your self-control and are overwhelmed by emotion for at least a few moments.
I don't really want to lose it because that would incite another dose of whatever shit she's already put in me. I want to get into verbal to and fro with somebody.
Sure. Well, we'll package it under that, so that's fine.
In the absence, I don't feel comfortable doing that with Stelline, with Celestine. Sorry.
Okay.
I am conscious that Roy is already as stressed as he can get, so I don't want to come at Roy.
Well, pause there one moment. Let me ask. I should ask Daniel too. Were you thinking about what you want to do to relieve your stress?
I was going to say, I think maybe you want to start with the person who's most stressed, and we'll see where that takes us.
Yeah, maybe we'll mix them together.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think I will. I chose to use drugs.
Okay.
Maybe because when I'm in this situation with two synthetics and everything, I don't usually. Roy is not usually the one who show emotions a lot, but he's starting to now, and he starts to breathe deeply and start talking. This is the worst way possible to die, and I don't want to do it. And then I take out this little metal box, and there is a one. It looks like a pill, but it's made of metal. And then I open it up and then I inhale it. And it's the last one. The way I see it from the rules, this is my last.
Your last supply.
My last supply, yeah.
Right. If you want to do it again, you have to find some new supply. Okay.
Yeah.
What general class of drug do you think it is? Is it a stimulant, a antipsychotic, sedative? What do you think?
I think it's like I think it's like a sedative, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm imagining it's something that was maybe used to some kind of drug that was used as something that helps with space anxiety or something similar, but
Sure.
proved out to be strongly addictive. So a kind of sedative, but maybe something that is known to promote some kind of a violent behavior afterwards.
Okay. So it
Like
was,
sort
it
of
was
like steroids.
probably pulled from the market. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's see how this works out then. So you get one card for nothing. And this is a matter of how do you cope with your altered state? So do you feel that Roy has any expertise that would help cope with your altered state?
Not really. I have security and connected
Security,
and sharp
connected,
eyes.
sharp eyes, profit, and charm.
I have charm as a prophet. Yeah. So
I
maybe a
don't
prayer.
Okay. Yeah, maybe a prayer that helps you like keep
Yeah.
your composure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe this is part of my religious ritual to use these kind of drugs. Yeah.
Right. To take in the impact of this drug and to keep it under control.
Yeah.
Great. So you get a second card for that. Do you have the perfect tool for the job? Do you have anything that's helping you cope with your altered state? Any piece of equipment?
No, I don't think so. No.
No, probably not.
No.
Is there anything we've established that gives you significant advantage?
Well, not really.
Okay. And then the last thing is, pushing yourself, but you can't push yourself because you're already stressed out. So
Yeah.
you've got 2 cards. Let's see how you do.
Okay, so I draw one.
Miss and miss.
That's
okay.
a miss.
So on a miss, you clear a stress still. So you do get to remove a stress, but then I get to make a move.
Okay.
And this might be a good time. And then also I get to choose. On a miss, you choose no consequences, but I choose 3. So I am going to say you can't come out of it. You can only walk and talk until someone calms you down. So Roy can't come out of it.
Okay.
Your mind is confused and muddled. Others may manipulate you with significant advantage until an appropriate period of time passes. And you mentioned that it makes you aggressive. So I think narrate for me how you strike out at Amos, would you like to be target of assault, or should we have someone else get attacked here?
I think Glover's the obvious target.
I think you've established that you have a deep paranoia about these androids. I think you strike out at the Stellene, that was helping you. She's like, "Can I help you?" And you reach out and you smash, you smash like the platter that she has, the silver platter.
Throw it at her. Yeah.
You throw it at her. You hit her in the head.
Yeah.
It causes her to bounce back, and this like white fluid starts to come down her face, from this laceration. And she goes, "I understand why you might feel this way. It's quite a lot to have to experience."
Can I speak or?
Sure.
No. So I'm just like I'm dizzy and dazed, but I say, no, you don't understand. I have to kill you.
Okay.
Every last one of you.
And maybe this is a good time to check in with Amos then. So seeing that, what do you think you're going to do?
I think that I will start, by saying to Roy, now's the time to prove yourself, kid. And I want to manipulate Roy into pulling the trigger on one of the synthetics.
Okay. I also got to move there. I'm just going to give myself a couple more threat cards, because why not? Okay. I don't know. Does he have to manipulate you, or are you just open to just?
I think that's what I would do anyway. So
yeah, it doesn't take much of a push.
Yeah, but you see, what I'm seeking to do here is to get all the attention on Roy.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I need Roy to really go off on one.
Really go go haywire. Okay,
Because
well, let
I'm
me say
hoping that
this.
will create significant advantage for me to run for the elevator.
Sure. Let me tell you this. So you throw this platter at one of the stellines, and she bounces back, and she's still just incredibly patient and comforting to you. You go to pull out a pistol. Amos says something like, do it, go for it. And what happens is, I mentioned there was the I always lock up on the word, the hologram, the holographic display. It like it like it like A bunch of the screens start to go red, and a bunch of them start crashing and locking up, and the Stellene robots, turn to you, the one that's there, and in sort of like a robotic, like how like when you're on a Zoom call and someone's connection's bad, they get robotic. She starts to do that. She starts to speak with this very robotic, laggy kind of voice, and she's like, "No, no, we must stop him. He can't, if he does, we must stop him." And the hologram shows a camera that's showing like over the shoulder, looking down, and you see Blaine is before this very complicated looking computer. It looks a little bit like this. And he's got some sort of wire that's connected to it. And he's got like a a terminal, a little personal terminal that he's typing away at. And the stelline that you were about to shoot, she just like freezes up and then starts to move like very jaggedly. So they are all freaking out. And I think that's a good point to take our break. So let's take a 10-minute break, and we'll come back and see what happens.
So in fiction, I think we have enough to know that from the sound, from what I think the sounds of it is that the Haven Station was corrupted by this whole digitizing of the alien consciousness, right? And so actually it's Stelline's like hacked AI, that we call. I said we should just call Intruder, just because it was very long to keep typing out Stelline's AI every time. Is actually the one that's probably keeping us alive, right? Because Stelline destroyed our ship and doesn't want us to escape, but does appear to have compassion and I don't want you to suffer, I don't want you to die painfully, kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I can't let you or any digital part of the corrupted Haven AI to escape the station.
Because obviously previous to this, the biggest exposition that we had was from Dr. Syndergaard, who lied and said it the other way around, that it was Intruder that was trying to kill us and Haven that was trying to restore things. But cool.
She calls it Haven 2, So there's Haven and then there's Haven 2, or what you're calling Intruder, which is fine. Yep, I think you got it. I'm glad that at least somebody's getting the bits and pieces I'm throwing out there. I think you're right on target.
It's also useful at this point because now I know that my character can know that. Like my character can now know exactly which AI is the one that we.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously neither of them are good because neither of them align with our goals. But if we had to choose one of them, it's Haven 2/Intruder, Stelline's AI. That's the one that's not going to immediately kill us.
True. I think no one has said as much, but I think maybe just for practical purposes, it's worth noting the assumption you can make then, or one thing, I guess one possibility is that if you were to somehow stop the Haven core, destroy, shut down, the Haven core, then maybe you would be free to go, because then the Haven core can't spread, right? Which is, of course, that's what Stelline's AI is trying to, stop at all cost. So one possible way of getting out of here is to shut down the original AI, which is corrupted by the alien consciousness.
Interesting. Well, Lee is the only one anywhere near that end of the station.
There's no way we can know which of the two AIs, or is it both, that Blaine's after, is there?
Well, we had established last time he has already a copy of the base code for the original, the Haven AI. He has like this little fob in his pocket. Okay. So he has already got that part. He now has made it clear to you that he wants to get the Haven 2, or what Will's calling Intruder. He wants to get that equivalent of that AI. And then
let's call it Haven 2 now, because we've got a name for it, right? It was just Intruder as a placeholder.
Right.
I think the one question that I would be asking as a member of the audience would be, is Blaine's copy of Haven from before it was taken, it was contaminated, or after it was contaminated, because that's quite a big.
I think that's.
Did he use the chaos of the attack of this?
I don't think there's any way of knowing that. I like the idea that you don't know that.
Exactly.
That's a significant question, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll leave that on
possibly shouting and shooting happening to find out.
Exactly. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm glad Will brought this up here in the gap, because I was gonna say, does anyone lost in terms? I'm trying to throw out bits and pieces of plot, and I don't want you to be lost. So if you have questions about that, I'm willing to step away and talk about it in sort of a meta level, to try to fill in the gaps if you feel lost about any bits and bobs about the plot as we're starting to add things.
I have to say, the scene before the break where we're in this place being offered drinks by synthetics, I wasn't entirely certain narratively what that was for, but now I think you've explained what it was for.
Right.
So fine.
Yeah. I mean, they're basically saying, we just want to make you comfortable, because you're not, this is where you're going to be living the last of your days. Because we can't let you go, because if we let you go, there's too much of a threat, a danger that you'll spread this corrupted AI one way or the other.
But then just to zoom in on Amos's motivation at the moment, his motivation was to get to the shuttle or the ship that we were told Stelline had up here.
Right. And remember
It's
who
now
told you
clear-
that, though. Yeah.
Well, yeah, quite. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know whether that's
Yeah.
true, but I'm working on the assumption of that.
Sure.
I don't know why he would lie about that.
Yeah.
So who did we find
Oh,
it out?
Syndergaard.
This
Syndergaard,
Syndergaard
yeah.
doctor
Yeah, I
who
remember
was
him, yeah.
part of a cult. Yeah, he had said
Yeah.
something about there's an escape ship up here in the penthouse. Yeah.
So it's
and
where
so-
Celine is. Yeah.
Where's-
So that's what's
Okay.
been driving Amos up.
Sure.
And-
But I'm now thinking, with these AIs still in control, and clearly they can interfere with the synthetics' ability to operate, then the only way to get any ship off this station without it blowing up is to take out the AIs.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah. Which is not
So-
a simple,
so
not a
even if
simple
I-
thing. Yeah.
Even if I run for the elevator now and start climbing up it physically, the chances are I'm going to be blown out of the sky when I get there, unless I make a deal with Haven 2.
Yeah. We'll see how that plays out.
And-
Yep.
and
You're on.
I
the
have
right
one
track.
question more.
Sure.
We did pass. Well, you said we passed through some xenomorph.
A little
Place.
hive, yeah.
Yeah, the little hive with the.
There was a maintenance shaft that was going
Yeah.
up, and lining it was all the resin, and people stuck to the wall. And
So that's
there was
right. That's behind us, on the way
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in here. You don't see
Okay.
any signs of that here.
Okay, that's what I
Yet.
want to. make clear.
Okay. Amos, I think you chose a violent solution when a non-violent solution might have been more effective there. I think pressing Roy to open fire maybe didn't have to do that. So I think you can reduce your stress by 1. What do you think?
Never look a gift horse in the mouth.
There you go. Let me play a card to just kind of capture what I did to you there. I'm going to play this card. Something breaks. So the AI is glitching for sure here. So that captures that. Let's leave you two there in this dramatic moment. We will come back to you in a second. Let's go back down into the vaults.
Can I just have one
Sure.
throwaway
ahead.
before you cut away, which is Amos turning away from them saying, fuck, when is Katri when you need him? Because
Yeah.
we have no way to mess with these AIs without Katri, I suggest.
We see Katri, cocooned in a wall somewhere. Okay. Will, I'm tempted to pick up with you entering into the synthesis lab. Is that where you want to pick up, or was there something you want to do in the vault proper?
No. I mean, as I move through the vault, are there signs that there are some of these people in here are alive still?
Yes, there are a lot of intact cryo beds for sure.
Cool.
The only thing worth noting about them is they're like coffins. They don't have windows or anything, so
Yeah.
they have like little blinking lights and stuff that show that they're active, and the readouts show that the person inside is stable, frozen but stable.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them that are very intact for sure.
Probably, like there's a very camera shot of her like peering through the glass and like wiping off the thing and seeing one inside, and then just staring up at them all. Like,
You can't see people. They're solid. There's no window to look
no window.
at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but then
you don't
seeing there's green lights on a few of them. Then that's the visual cue. Yeah. Like
There you
go. Is it obvious to me? Like the bodies in here, were they torn open? Were they like the coffins, or is it just like, it's hard to tell, really?
It looks like, so you see, it looks as though, I think they were all kind of taken out of their cryo beds, and clearly they weren't revived in the proper way. So they've died from that sort of shock, I guess. But you don't see signs of like chest bursters or like physical violence on these bodies. They're just sort of floating. They clearly died from not doing the proper process of reviving them.
I am going to take a stress from that. because
I
I
think
think it's
I
much.
think I gave you one last week. I mean,
No, I know, but
you
I
want to take
think
another?
I want
Sure.
to take another one because I think that Lee is absolutely horrified when she realizes that, this is the work of the station staff, if anything else. It's not the work of like these aliens or these beasts. It is
Mhm.
the people who are supposed to help them are the ones who
Right.
just abandoned all form of care and just tore them, for more bodies for their great work kind of
Okay.
stuff.
Sure.
Because she used to live here. It's
Mhm.
horrifying.
True.
But yeah, I make my
Maybe
way
you
through
see
to.
one of these. Well, I guess you wouldn't know the people because these aren't the staff. These are people that were patients,
No,
right?
no, I don't.
So
I think
yeah,
it's fine. It's just to,
maybe someone that you put into one of these beds, a
mm,
year ago or whatever when you worked here, and here
yeah.
they
Well,
are.
it could be any of them, right? Like any of the people here could be the ones that
Sure,
I've helped in the past.
sure,
That
sure.
could be me. Anyway, I go through to the synthesis lab, like the get there, motion
Right.
sensor, like
hmm
boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, like I said, there's a ton of interference just from all of the flotsam and bodies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a clean signal for sure. So you walk along and you get to the synthesis lab, and there's a doorway that slides open, and there's also a big window that like looks into the synthesis lab from the vault. And you walk in, and there are imagine a science lab. It's all kinds of computers and blinking lights and readouts and whatnot. On one wall, say to your left, there's a line of these cryo beds, sort of like in receptacles against the wall, and they're all frosted over, and they're venting cold air. So clearly these are cryo beds that are active. There's green lights and whatnot. There's probably like a half a dozen. And then on the other side, on the right side, there's more cryo beds, but they're clearly like have power and stuff, but there's no like venting or any ice or anything on them, no frost. So they're just kind of
Yeah,
sitting there.
they're powered on and functional, but not actually doing the job of being a
Right,
cryostasis, as far as I
right.
can see. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it looks as though this synthesis lab was in the process of being constructed. There's a lot of like there's panels ripped off. There's like a bunch of wires, like a hornet's nest of wires. That looks like there's somebody was in the process of like putting together. There's pieces of equipment that are just sort of in boxes that hadn't clearly been installed yet. So clearly, similar we had said last week, there's this industrial area moved through that clearly was partially working but wasn't completed. So this is similar. It looks like it was in the process of being put together. And then there's another door like on the opposite side across from you that has like construction tape. It says like danger, do not enter.
Mm.
It's not sealed, but it's covered up by this, sending you a message like, don't go there.
And for the sake of plot simplicity, can it be that through that area is that probably like it's under construction, right? But that'll take me through to some of these maintenance shafts that could link me back up with the rest of the
I've
station.
got yeah, I'll tell you a little more probably from the operations center. Maybe you checked it out.
Well, you did actually say that there was a way down this way.
that leads into sort of like it sort of leads into part of that industrial area where you saw the synthetics being constructed, and that there are several elevators in there that can lead to other parts of the station. So that'll give us the narrative way of getting you moving around wherever you want to go next. Okay.
Perfect.
But
I think that's that. Dit, 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 and it's just like and I know it's not the motion, it's the green icon. It's like the different coloured symbol that represents Captain Wilson's PID, right? And it's like
well,
I
let me
go
tell you
over
about
to the
Captain
whichever one
Wilson.
in
So you
there.
walk in, you see all this, but then you see one person pulling some stuff out of like a locker.
Oh shit! There's somebody in here. Then definitely.
There's somebody in here,
Yeah.
and it is if I remember correctly, you've never actually met Creed Wilson because you joined the ship after they dropped him off here. But I think you've seen pictures, you've heard about him.
I've seen that huge, large painting that he had commissioned above the captain's chair.
Right, of himself.
Yeah, that no one's been allowed to take down.
Yeah, it was of himself with like a race car from like back in the 2000s or something, like
vintage race car.
A vintage race car that he had. So he looks like this. He's a tall, skinny man. He's just putting on this hat, this cowboy hat. He's putting on his sunglasses. He's pulling out a pack of cigars. He's got like a jumpsuit on, like a Haven jumpsuit. And he turns and he says, "Hello, darling. Uh, what the hell's going on?"
Cream? I mean, Captain Wilson, you're awake.
He sees your jumpsuit and you probably have, Gibraltar, a Gibraltar patch. He goes,
Yeah.
whoa, you're one of my crew. I don't remember you.
Listen, Captain, I got a lot to catch you up on, all right? But the thing is, I'm here with the crew. We came back for you, and Haven's not safe. It's all gone wrong, and the jib's gone.
God damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's not even the half of it, mate. I'm Lee, by the way. I joined up when they put you off. But it's not. We got to find Amos. Amos is here. He's we got to find Amos and the others.
Is he still busting your ass? Busting everybody's ass?
Yeah. And
taking control.
Yeah, and she rubs the side of her face where there's a small bruise, right, from when he smacked her in the face. And he's like, "All right, you could say that, yeah." But
what about Falade? Falade, she running the ship now?
Nah,
what?
She did a great job, Captain. She would have made you proud.
Well, who's still around then? And
I don't know who's left.
Yeah,
I don't know who's left, but we got to find them. And I'll say, like, listen, if we go that way, I think we can get back into the rest of the station. But watch your back. There's something big and dangerous out there, and the working Joes have gone mad. And just watch your back.
Right. And he goes to light one of these cigars, and he has a lighter, and he goes to light it. He doesn't seem to be able to like do the flicking, to get his finger keeps missing and flicking, like his arm is jerking. He's like, what the hell's going on with me?
She gently like grabs his hand, and it's obvious to Lee, right? Like, she's dealt with this stuff being on the station and everything. It's like, I'm afraid that, see, the cryo on your treatment wasn't ever finished properly, Captain. But there's no time for that now. And I take the cigar and I snap it, and I go like, "There's no time for that either."
There's always time for that. He pulls out another one. He goes, like this goddamn. Look, I'm your captain. I don't know you, Lee, but you seem like a nice lady. Light this goddamn cigar for me. Who knows how long I've been asleep? And he goes, and he looks, and his eyes get wide, and he goes, well, what the hell is that? And you turn, and you see floating towards the glass that leads into here from the vault. Flip a card. Monster attack. A xenomorph drone is floating towards the glass, slowly.
That kind of like torpedo style that they do in like kicking off from the wall, right? Like drifting towards,
right.
like quite fast. Fuck, run! I'm gonna like, because is the synthesis lab have artificial gravity?
Yes. Once you enter it, you clump to the ground.
Yeah. Just to see whether it was the awkward Expanse style, like carrying someone. Well, you've got your boots on and they're not attached.
No, I think it has gravity.
Yeah.
It has gravity.
Yeah. We run for the construction area. Like tear off the tape and run through.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do that move and see how to get that on the table. Let me make sure I've recalled and shuffled. Looks like I have. Great. All right, so run is the move. Peril. I've also added a little bit here too. So when you flee from a threat into a new location, narrate the first half of a hectic chase and draw. I think we kind of just did that. The GM briefly describes the new location prior to the draw, and the table flushes it out once the move is resolved. Let me play another card too, because I think as you move to the door, it hits the glass, immediately uses its inner jaw, and smashes the glass.
The door buckles.
Which probably now I think the gravity immediately, shuts down. So you start, you probably like have, part of this is probably grabbing Cream Wilson and throwing his floating body through the doorway, right? Hopefully. So I think you open this door and you see, like I said, there's I think there's probably like I'm seeing like a long hallway. It's pretty wide, and there's like rows of these cryo beds, like the unfrosted ones that I described.
Mhm.
There's rows of them here, and some of them are open, and you can see there's androids inside of them. But they don't. We said earlier that in the industrial area, like their heads don't have any features.
Mhm.
So there's these androids in these containers, and they don't have features. And there's
Each of them
this
has like
long
a skull
hallway,
cap with a
right?
cable running out of it.
Exactly. And there's you can see on the inside, like maybe like I said, like some of these doors are open, so you can see the androids inside, and you can see on the inside of like the door, there's all kinds of technology to help mold faces and like to program them and to do to create the final product, so to speak. And there's this long hallway, and at the end there's several elevators. Um, and we'll cover that if you get to there. So I think that's kind of like what we see you doing is
Mhm.
trying to get down this hallway to these elevators. That's your escape.
Yeah, we're
Uh,
running awkwardly, and you can hear coming up and then thudding up the elevator shaft, like for up the tunnel behind us, kind of thing.
right, right.
Okay, so
Yeah, and it's probably it doesn't have gravity, so it's just crawling, on the roofs and the ceiling and the floor, that way that Xenos do. All right, so you get one card for nothing.
mhm.
Do you have any expertise that would help you with this run?
Yeah, I'm fit.
There you go. So that's second card. Do you have the perfect tool for the job? Any
Um,
piece of equipment?
I think the fact that I have my maintenance suit with the grav boots is the perfect tool for this
Yep,
situation. It's overcoming this environmental threat, basically.
yep, I agree.
Uh,
Is there anything we've established that gives you significant advantage?
no, I don't think there is, because I also established that this was a new area of the new development since I left, basically the synth labs.
Mhm.
So I will push myself.
Okay, so that takes you to 4, I think, right?
Yes, it does. Yeah,
Go ahead.
edge, edge, opportunity, miss.
All right.
On an edge, choose 2 of the following. I either gain a stress on a
So
triumph.
yeah, you're going
I
to choose
just
2 or you're going to choose 1. Yep. You're
a
going to gain
triumph.
a
I just choose
stress,
one.
get a hurt, or you're lost and alone. I also added on a hit, if you select an additional bullet point, you may occupy the threat's attention long enough so that anyone else not engaged may successfully hide. So you don't need
Mm,
to do that. The NPC is just kind of with you. So,
yeah, yeah.
so it's basically a matter of do you want to choose 1 bullet point or 2?
I may as well. I think mechanically the best way of playing this under those rat roll is to spend a stress to turn it into a triumph, and then choose it was close. Everyone involved gained 1 stress, because that affects the NPC as well, right? Like they get stressed out by it. So it still seems to me to be a valid choice to take.
Sure,
Um,
sure. Okay.
is that fair
Yeah,
enough?
yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. So you take a stress to turn it into a triumph, then you choose to gain another stress.
Yeah, it
Is
was
that
everybody involved gains 1 stress. So
okay?
I'm effectively
You're maxed
it's only
out.
I'm maxed out, but Cream is obviously going to take a stress because
Right,
NPCs get
right,
stressed as well,
exactly,
right? As from
right.
what I remember.
Yeah, and they do badly. Like I was saying with Glover, Glover's just suffered too much stress. He's in a bad place upstairs. So,
Yeah.
all right, here's the interesting choice. So there are 2 elevators at the end, and as you're moving towards them, they each open up. Over each of them has a camera over them that's looking at you. One has a green light, and one has a red light. And the green light looks like it's inside. Obviously, it's surrounded by steel and whatnot, but it looks like it has glass walls. Uh, you can go into that one. or you can go into like a service elevator, a real big like industrial elevator that has the red light over it. Which elevator do you jump into?
One of these AIs tells me the truth, nothing but the truth, and one of them tells me nothing but lies, right? Which one of them can I get into? Have I identified the red light is Haven 2 and the green light is Haven?
The green light was Haven 2 and the red light was
Okay.
Haven.
And the red light's the one over the service elevator, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a real big like industrial elevator.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some like boxes and stuff inside it.
Yeah, I think that Lee does believe Stelline, that like Stelline's told her the truth about this stuff. So I think that she wouldn't get into the lift that was under the control of Haven because it would be suicide as far as she's concerned.
Sure.
So I think maybe like as Cream goes towards it, she grabs hold of him and then like dives towards I think maybe I detach the mag boots, right, and push off right from a wall, tackle Wilson as we go, and like push him towards we drift towards the other one as the alien like rips up the corridor, and I slam into that lift and
Right.
Yeah.
And the doors, the glass doors, the interior glass doors shut, and as the steel doors are shutting on the outer, the outer edge, the outer doors of the elevator, the alien, gets there and tries to pull it open, but you've successfully escaped.
I think the alien, it's the glass lift, right? Like the glass shaft of the lift. The alien smashes through it, and then like a metal panel like slides down, like because it's like elevator shaft compromise kind of thing, and like from the walls it cuts it off. So
okay,
yeah.
Perfect.
Just because like having a glass tube that doesn't get smashed by something seems
sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have some of those I think later, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, okay, great, perfect. So now next question: do you push to go up or do you push to go down? And we know going up. I mean, I don't know if I guess your character would know this. Going up is going to go. Maybe it says Dr. Stelline's garden area.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been to Stelline's garden back in my service days, anyways,
Sure.
right? Like, it strikes me as that's the sort of place where like it's her private area because you can only get up there if she wants to be up there. But people went up there because it's a nice part of the station, right? Like peaceful.
Sure.
I think it's a slightly metagamey question answer, but I think I go up mainly because everything about my cards is all about being around other PCs at the end of the day.
Sure.
So I don't want to completely go off on another Noah side quest kind of solo mission.
Yeah, that's really the question. Do you want to get back with the others or not? Okay, great.
Yeah. Or hey, now there's another lift, another way out of the floor that they're on as well, right? So I've discovered another way out, basically.
Sure. All right, let's leave you there riding up the elevator with Cream Wilson. Roy, we left you pulling out your pistol. You see these androids glitching out, freezing, moving very jerky. Do you lay down violence upon them, or do you do something else?
Yeah, I want to destroy them. So I just shoot them with my gun, and while I'm doing it, I tell some kind of prayers. And if they don't resist or in any way, if I can just shoot them without. Okay, so when I finished them and I finish my prayer, and then I say to them, it's not a real prayer if we don't sacrifice a few sins while we do it.
Perfect.
And because I have my prophet background says once per session you can reduce your stress by 1 by hinting at the unseemly practices of your church. So maybe this counts as.
Yep, absolutely. So you guys like to sacrifice sins.
Yeah.
So they don't fight against you. You shoot them, you hit them in the head. There's we probably come into you finishing that, saying that grim thing. There's kind of twitching a little bit, but you've blasted the skulls and bodies of these two Dr. Stelline synthetics. Amos, what do you think you're going to do here? I think you were trying to make your way to the elevator, I guess, right?
Yeah, again, I'm just trying to put together, and you may want to make me roll to investigate to work out what's going on, but I'm not sure that Amos knows where the cores are.
Mhm.
He knows that Blaine is there. His working assumption at the moment is that it's further up this elevator.
Mhm.
But what I'm not clear about is that we tried to take an up elevator, but there was a hull breach that stopped us doing it. Is that the elevator?
That's a different elevator.
Okay.
This elevator that you're moving towards, so you came up the elevator shaft that led you to the doors into the garden,
Yeah.
but inside the garden there's a separate elevator, this glass
Okay.
elevator that rises up to the penthouse and presumably goes down also to where Lee is.
Okay. So I'm assuming that the cores are up. So I want to call an up elevator car.
Sure. Okay. Now, on your way to the elevator shaft, Amos, what do you find? Let me play another card. Let me get these ones off the table first. Shuffle. Let me see. Where's that one? Here it is. So we see you and presumably the others. I think Glover, honestly, is still just sitting there holding his head and sort of moaning. He's gonna, unless you guys can kind of calm him down, he's gonna be left behind.
That's fine by me.
Yeah, so we see that I guess it's just the three
I promised
of
to
you.
go back for him, obviously.
Of course. The three of you that are moving towards this elevator, there's like a pathway that leads like through this lush, garden area, moving to where this elevator landing is, the glass elevator. What do you find that gives you a strong hint that what the PC describes what they see, hear, or sense? It tells them that a monster is nearby, waiting for a perfect opportunity. What does Amos find in his short journey to this elevator that's not a good sign?
I have to find one of these ciliated worms burst open.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna let me. That's good. Let me change it a little bit. I think you find one of them. It's all ripped apart because it is indeed a synthetic also. So the worm has all of the synthetic blood, hydraulic fluid leaked out on the passage on the path. Looks like something has ripped it apart quite recently. It's still sort of moving a little bit. Yeah, perfect. So that puts you, if you should run into a threat, you're gonna have to stare into the void. It gives me that power. You get to the elevator, and you see that there are two cars here, or there's space for two cars. So there's doors for two cars. It's all glass, so you can see right in. And you can see that on the outside, there's sort of an electronic kit is here, and you can see that someone has run a bypass to open this up and activate this elevator. And that one of the cars is, you see it way up there, at the elevator at the penthouse level. But lo and behold, at that very moment, the other car arrives from below, and you see your old Captain Cream Wilson and Lee in this car. Cream Wilson, he says, "God damn, Amos and Roy, what a sight for sore eyes you are."
Before anybody says anything, as the doors pull open and Amos pulls up, can Lee just smile weakly at him and go "Is this what floor are you going to, sir?" And she leans over to press the button. And I'd like to use my ability to relieve some of my stress.
Sure. You want to reduce all of your stress to 0? Or reduce everyone by 1?
I will reduce everyone's by 1.
Okay.
I think, because I think my compatriots are also riding relatively high on stress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll reduce everyone's stress by 1.
Okay. So everybody go ahead and remove a stress.
Does that apply to the NPCs as well?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
yes. So I think you've calmed down Creed with that. He goes, "I like this Lee. She's a funny lady. Where'd you pick her up, Amos?"
And then I shoot him.
You're gonna shoot Cream Wilson? All right.
He's just baggage now.
All right. Well, I think you've chosen a violent solution when a non-violent solution might have been better.
That's
So
what
go
I
ahead.
hoped you'd say.
Yeah, go ahead and reduce your stress another one. Geez, I think I don't think there's any roll here. I don't think anybody was expecting that. Good old Cream Wilson. You shoot him. Where do you shoot him? What part of his body?
I think I'll try and take his head off if I got the option.
Sure. Oh, with the shotgun. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And I want to see the look on Lee's face as this.
Yeah.
I think that. Go ahead.
I'm going to take a point of stress for.
Oh no.
Well, let me tell you what happens, and then you can decide whether you think it's appropriate to take stress or not. So I think Cream Wilson, with a big smile, the cigar in his hand, says, where'd you get this girl? Bam. We probably don't see it on screen. We just see like a splash of white hydraulic fluid splash all over Lee. And, Cream Wilson's body falls to the ground, twitching, he was an android.
Which Amos obviously knew the whole time, right?
And the flip side of this is that I say to Lee, I bet you knew that all the time, didn't you?
Well, this is a pleasant surprise. How'd you know he was a synth, Amos?
I just had a feeling, and sometimes you just have to act on how you feel.
Lee backs further into the side of the wall. There's that shotgun still there. You got to act on your feelings. Says the guy who just blew away. Like, fucking hell. Oh, I'm
I'm
sick
looking
of
around
this
at
fucking station.
Anybody else have any powers that activated with this that would help them lose stress or anything? I don't think so, but just looking around. That's a significant action. All right, great. So I guess what's next? I think just to put more, the lights are flickering. The holograms, 15 meters behind you. You see the screens back there. Lee, you haven't been here, but maybe you see it looking over their shoulder. You see that hologram is all like fluttering. You see a couple dead synths back that way.
I think Lee's kind of horror outburst of horrified at this weird synth stuff is multiplied when she sees the multiple copies of Dr. Stelline spread across the floor as well. Just like, man, things got really fucking weird after I left. Like, really weird. Can we have I think I'd be interested in like a meta talk about like what we want to do, and then like in the fiction, right? It's just that whatever we decide upon is the thing that someone says, and that's like, yeah, we've got to go do that kind of stuff,
Sure.
So do we go for the shuttle, or do we go down? We have to sabotage the Haven core before, like, because we know that the intruder core is where Blaine is, right? And that must be somewhere near here.
And now that Lee's on scene, I can know for certain whether the core is up or down. Because I'm not sure that Amos is ever quite known.
And we don't need, so like the only benefit to destroying the Haven core really was that it would give us some sort of argument with Stelline for like, well, that threat is gone. You don't need to worry about us. But if we don't know for 100%, but it's probably likely that Haven itself doesn't have the ability to shoot. If we can get to Intruder, we can stop the ability to shoot down our shuttle, our ship. We can leave and we can take off and nuke the place from orbit, right? Come back with a bunch of Marines and just nuke this place rather than Haven, the main system, doesn't seem like it will stop us leaving the station.
No, the main Haven wants to leave the station. It wants to spread.
It's Intruder, it's Haven 2 that she created to try to stop. The original one is corrupted.
So do we go after Haven 2 or do we go after Haven 1?
We go after all of them, to be honest. I mean, I don't think we know for certain which way to jump on this, so we just blow the core.
Yeah, let me answer the question I think is implicit here, which is that I think Lee would know that you personally don't know, but you know that if there was a sophisticated AI that was being used by Stelline, it was probably up in the penthouse. And then you definitely know that the core of the original AI, Haven, is way down at the bottom of the spire. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, right. So it's in two different places. So
Right.
Blaine went up,
Yes.
and
He-
the bad AI is down.
Blaine
Then
just
we
wants
need
to
to go
get.
up.
Yeah, he wants to get both cores because he's going to get super rich.
Exactly.
And he already has like I said, the base code. We don't know if it's corrupted or not, but he has the base code of Haven, and he wants the Haven 2 or Intruder core.
And I think that fictionally, if we believe that there is a escape shuttle up there, that means that Blaine is closer to the escape shuttle. And do any
Exactly.
of us trust him not to just take it and run, right? So like, let's go up. It's like, you know, we get in and sans that whole conversation is like, you guys tell like, you know, that fucking security guard's at the thing. Come on before he takes the shuttle, or like,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Blaine got ahead of us. We need to catch him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree
Okay.
to that. Yeah.
We're on an
Express
ethics
elevator to
to hell.
heaven.
So we see everybody load into this,
Haven.
you know, and you start riding up, you know, with hydraulic fluid spraying all around and blasted on all the walls from.
So before we do this, just
Sure.
there aren't two elevators here, are there?
No, there are
Okay,
two.
that's-
There are two elevator cars in this glass. It's a glass like imagine all in 360 around. It's covered in glass, open to the garden. So it's sort of a spire that you're going up. Okay, there are two cars or space for two cars. You're going up in one. The other one is still up there. The other car is up there. Okay, so
then
you're
what I'd
riding
like
up.
to do
Go
is
ahead.
to drag Cream's body into the doorway of the elevator that Lee brought up to our level, and call the other elevator down.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. It comes down. We see you we see you there for a moment or two, and then you load into this other car, and then everybody's going up, right? Lee, let me say, you see sort of like sobbing and in a bad place. You see Glover back over there in that courtyard area. Do you do anything? Sounds like the others have sort of left him there.
Oh,
But
while the lift is coming down, Lee, you know, like steps out and sees, you know, I don't think you see her walk over to Glover. You know, it's just like she kneels down by Glover and pulls him to his feet. And he, you know, he sobs something about a country, and she just like squeezes his shoulder and like pulls him towards the lift. And I guess I will try and roll to calm him down.
calm him down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to the others, so you can do a story here, or we can skip it. It's up to you. If you something you want to establish, you can. But otherwise, we can just go right to the cards.
Yeah, I think the only story really is that, you know, Lee is definitely the character in the actress in this that is tasked with conveying kind of like, oh, I know that they're gone. There's nothing we can do, but we other than to live kind of thing. We're not losing any more people kind of stuff.
Perfect.
The one with
All
the
right.
most emotive face, I guess.
Let's see. Share a story and draw. Okay, so you get one card. Do you have anything that helps you calm down Glover?
I have skill wise. I have medic, quick-witted, comic relief. Yeah, I have a skill that gives me
If
two
you
cards.
throw in a little quip or something that shows how it's funny the way you're approaching it, I'll give it to you.
Yeah. I I say, wait until you see Captain Wilson.
Okay, great. Little dark humor, perfect. That takes us to 2.
You're
Do you
not
have
going to
this?
believe this.
Do you have the right tool for the job?
You think you're in a bad place?
I think I have no. I don't. The right tool for the job. No, I
Significant
don't think so.
advantage.
I think I have significant advantage in that. Perhaps it counts because Glover, to everybody else, right? Lee disappeared, chased by alien, was assumed dead, right? And she's come back, which I think is a thing that for anybody who gives a shit seeing your friend come back from the dead.
Yeah,
is like,
you've definitely put yourself, like you said, you've taken on that role of being the caretaker. The others sort of just left him here. No judgment. So that takes you to 3. Do you want to push yourself for a 4th?
No, I don't know.
Okay, 3 cards.
That's a triumph.
Bam. All right. So you both reduce your stress by 1.
Nice.
And then you can choose one. You can raise his disposition, or you can ask him a question he must answer honestly.
I will just raise his disposition, I think.
Yeah.
And I think specifically the way that it's raising his disposition is you know, like maybe after he sees Captain Wilson's Captain Wilson's body, he pulls that axe up, and hefts it, and just says something like, those sick fucks, we gotta burn this place to the ground, right? Like, he's pissed off, he's angry now, like, but not at me, I'm just saying he's like energized to kick ass basically now.
Yeah, and he's gone basically, I think in Zombie World, it goes from friendly to ally. So he's willing to jump into the fire for you, Lee. Not so much the others. Again, no judgment. All right, great. So we see everyone.
Can I just add a little, take away from that? As he takes the axe, he drops the stress ball that he's been mangling.
Right. This is my stress ball now. All right, great. We see let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of you. No, 5 of you, because Celestine too. So the 5 of you riding up this elevator up towards the penthouse, and we will pick up there after our last break. Let's take 5. I'll see you then.
It did cross my mind that was why, that was the whole purpose of that synthesis lab and the cryo link and the sort of whatever.
Yeah.
It was unclear to me whether or not Cream knew that he was a android or not. I thought maybe Amos was just going to kill him for the for the money, basically. Like that was always his plan, was to make sure that Captain Wilson never cut off.
I half to 70% believe that's why Alan did that.
Well, one action, numerous benefits.
Two birds with one stone.
But there was something up with him, wasn't there? There was something up with him.
Yeah. I mean, Amos wouldn't have known that, but sure. Okay. It was a little too convenient, maybe. All right. So let's pick up. I think let's do the new location move. You ride up the elevator, the doors open. Like I said, everything's glass. So imagine everything that we described. You can kind of see through one glass wall into another. Everything's very transparent, I guess. So you ride up and you come into sort of a large central chamber of this penthouse area, which is up sort of the top of the station. A little bit of a picture. So you come out and you're in this large area, and in the center of this area, surrounded by glass, is a very sophisticated looking computer made out of all of these sort of glowy, sort of glass looking itself bits and bobs of a very sophisticated computer. There's all kinds of orange light, orange and white and black light is sort of the motif in here, giving everything sort of this golden sheen throughout this place. And through the glass, you can see off to the left, there's sort of like a lab area, it looks like. Across in front of you, beyond this computer, there's an area that looks like a living space. And in fact, you kind of see like there's a cryo bed in there, and a normal bed, and like a dresser, and a mirror and all that kind of stuff, like someone's living space. And then off to the right, you see that there's sort of like an office type area, or like a study, imagine. And then, like I said, all the walls, you can see out beyond, you can see out into the garden on each side. And you're up sort of close to, like, maybe if you kind of like off to the side, you kind of, there's like even like glass out that like you can see space beyond, So that's the basic setup. So on the new location move, I give you a rough description, and then we can add some detail. Let's go around the table. I want to give everybody a chance to add something here. And again, remember, this is something that you think is cool, something you think that is genre appropriate, or something that your character or you just want to see here that would help you accomplish what you're up to. Let me start with Daniel, with Roy. Roy, what's something that you see here that you want to add?
Well, I'm not sure.
Do you want to think about it? And
yeah, maybe someone else. Yeah.
Okay, let me go down to Will, see if Will's got anything.
This is Staline's penthouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what we see is a trail of synth blood leading in the direction away from this room towards perhaps where Blaine or something is, like
Sure.
just that white milky like fluid dripped across the floor.
Right. Let me add a few more details, because I probably should have added from the start. You see, I mentioned before that I think it was Roy and Amos had seen sort of on the holographic display down below a camera showing Blaine in here typing away at a terminal. And there is a terminal that's attached to this computer, like by a wire, and there's some sort of process going on. You can see on the screen there's some sort of process going on, and you can tell that the computer's freaking out. It's blinking, and sparks are going off, and whatever the cinematic signs that this computer is going through something bad. But yes, there's a stream of synthetic blood on the ground that leads maybe back beyond into that living space like that. Alan, is there anything you'd like to add to this setting?
I think that in this kind of sophisticated, we could be anywhere that's very rich, very corp, very sophisticated, except that there is one part of this which demonstrates that this does have an escape route, and that is that there is running across the top of the wall is a kind of strip that says, in case of emergency, arrow, just and that is the route to the escape shuttle.
Okay, perfect. And then Daniel, have you thought of anything? Or you just want to pass?
Maybe there is some kind of another terminal which acts like a surveillance terminal, so that we can see maybe what's happening around the maybe not the whole place, but just like a security, because I'm a security person. So some kind of a security terminal,
right,
to help guard this area. Yeah, that's
I think I'm going to say it's glitching out right now, but you certainly can take some time to like try to like get it online, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll say that's certainly there, and it's clear that that's its purpose. All right, great. GM places a non-monster threat. What should I put here? I'm going to say that script that Alan described, it also has an indicator on it that shows that warning, danger, hull breach or vacuum or something like that. Like the symbols in Aliens, all these symbols that represent different things, and you guys know how to read those, and you know that if you were to go that way, apparently there's some warning about vacuum and hull breach that way. All right. Okay, so then I also get to give myself a couple cards. Let me do that. You know what? I think we're entered Act 3. I think we reached our final act. So I get 3 cards at the start of Act 3, and I just gave myself 3 more. So I'm going to give myself 6 cards. Bam. I think you hear someone, you hear a bang, a loud slam, crash even, coming from back in the living room area. And maybe you see like a body, a large man, maybe Blaine, thrown across this living room area, and it slams into like maybe into that cryo bed I mentioned. And he's like saying, no, don't do it. What do you want to do, Lee?
So Blaine is thrown from the room with the white fluid leading towards it, right? Like basically like
well, he's in there, and something or someone has just thrown him across the room into this cryo bed.
We hear like raised voices and stuff, and then suddenly there's just a crash, and then he comes like flying back in and like coughing up, like don't do it.
Right.
I immediately turn to look at whatever it is that threw him.
So you'd have to like step a little bit, maybe to the side or something, to see.
Oh, yeah,
you see one of the doctor Stelline androids, the young woman, is jerkily walking towards him, and she's got wounds, like bullet wounds, all in her chest, with leaking fluid.
One like in the cheek, right, but not like severed anything down. It's like just this thing, yeah. Get back, Stelline! Don't do it! Don't hurt anybody else. I think I'm just like stalling for time, right? Other people here are much more capable of dealing.
I think she turns to you and she says, "Stop what he's doing." Again in that sort of robotic voice. It's bad connection, bad bandwidth, and she's moving very jerkily and speaking very jerkily. And she says, "Stop the process before he." Corrupts, or before corrupts isn't the word he'd use. He'd say before he disrupts Haven 2.
I'm going to, Blaine's like injured, right? Like coughing on the floor kind of thing. I'm going to kneel down over him and I'm going to like root through his pockets, and obviously it doesn't take me too long because it's plot, right? And I'm going to pull out like, I'm imagining like it's not like a little USB style stick, it's maybe more like a sort of like a tape kind of size, like big chunky like data thing, and I pull it out and I hold it up, and this is the copy of Haven, right? Like that he took.
Well, he's gonna. You go to do so, but he turns his pistol to you. The Dr. Stelline.
Oh, I mean, I'm doing it while I'm basically like.
Can I suggest
I'm looking like
that
I'm
there's a
trying to back
lot
down.
going on with two of us stood there frozen in narrative time?
Sure. So let's have you start moving that way.
Yeah.
Let's check in with the others.
I've got my,
and let me tell you,
on him.
Yeah, you're not going to get that close because Blaine's going to pull. He's going to turn his pistol to you. He's not going to let you do that. He's not like incapacitated or anything. But let's pause there. Have you approaching him? But yeah, Alan, what's Amos doing? You think?
Run towards Blaine, shoot him in the head.
Okay. And what about Roy?
question.
Well, I mean, I guess then it is that and he pulls that gun on me, and as he pulls that gun up, Amos just is going to go.
Right. Yeah.
And Roy wants to shoot the android, of course.
Okay. So everybody's going to start shooting each other. Great.
Yeah.
All right. So I think the android's looking to kill Blaine also. So the android continues to move towards Blaine. He turns the pistol. He sees Lee approaching him. And Amos. Okay, great. Amos, sort of like in your periphery, you notice another strange thing as you're moving towards him to get a vantage.
Well, can I suggest there is
Sure.
a move called Quick Look, which we've never had a chance to use.
Sure.
Is this a quick look?
Yeah, you want to have a quick look around as you're moving that way to get your angle to take a shot.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because we know Blaine's attention is on Lee, who's directly approaching him.
Sure. This move is when you only have a moment to look about. On a hit, blah, blah, blah. Do you have an expertise that would help you with a quick look?
I think it's combat experience, isn't it?
Yeah. So you're up to 2. Do you have the perfect tool for the job? Is there any piece of equipment that would help here?
I don't think so.
No. Do you have anything that would give you significant advantage?
I don't know whether a combination of athlete and concealment would apply. That's the only
Well, those
thing
are
that comes to mind.
expertise. So you already got
Oh, I
that. Yeah, significant advantage is something else.
Would it be that he's distracted because he's pointing it at me? His attention is on Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the question if there's
I'm going to
anybody
still
else
say
here who isn't.
no, just
Oh,
because
yeah.
of something else. And then finally, do you want to push yourself?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, take a stress. So that takes you to 1, 2, 3 cards.
Okay, here we go. Edge. Miss. Edge.
Okay.
On an edge, you may ask one question. Oh, on a hit, you gain 1 use of significant advantage. So
Yep.
that's in the bag.
And you may ask one question. And you could just make up your own question. There's some bullet points there, just some suggestions, but you can just ask whatever you like.
What here is the greatest threat?
Good question. As you're moving that way, what the hell is that up on the roof there? What kind of piece of equipment or something is that? And God damn it, it's moving. So there's something dark and nasty, kind of like lit up by a little bit of gold. There's a little bit of gold sheen coming off of it. And you see this head turn towards you, and you see that it's one of our aliens is up on the roof, just the way you're going. You would have gone right underneath it. Let me play a couple cards, or maybe just one. Right, no, 2 actually. Tension builds, which allows me to play the next level of the monster. This is called Infiltrate. An adult finds a way into a secure area and attacks. So we're going to deal with that. Let's do Roy's attack first. I'm curious to see what happens with the gunfire going on with sort of the 4 other people. Glover, by the way, is sort of following you, Lee. He's sort of supporting you with his fire axe. So Roy.
Okay.
Let me recall and shuffle. Hold on. So you're shooting the android.
Yes.
Are you looking to destroy it? To incapacitate it? Something else?
I'm looking to destroy it. To just if if needed, incapacitate, but just put it out
Sure.
of the equation.
Okay. So we're going to do the fight move, peril. When you fight, you gain 1 stress and draw. So gain a
Okay.
stress. Do you have any expertise that would help you be a good shot?
Maybe sharp eyes
Yeah, or security. So
or security.
good.
Yeah.
You're up to 2. Do you have the perfect tool for the job? We've
I have a
established
gun.
that pistols will let you do some damage, but they're not the perfect tool.
Okay.
Pistols are not that effective against these androids. Is there anything that we've established that gives you significant advantage?
Well, I was going to say the same thing because the android is trying to stop Blaine.
Yes.
Maybe that's an advantage. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is. That's perfect. And then do you want to push yourself? Take a stress.
No,
Or a
not right
4th
now.
card.
No.
All right. 3 cards when you're ready.
Okay. So triumph.
All right.
And that's it. Yeah.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
All right. On a hit, you exchange harm as established. And on a triumph, you get to choose 3 from the pick list. You drive the threat off. You suffer little harm. You cause great harm. You keep cool and reduce your stress, or you avoid collateral damage. Occupy the threat's attention. You get to choose 3 of those.
Okay, so I choose you suffer little harm. And what would cause great harm mean in this situation?
I think you would kill it. You would deactivate it.
So yeah, I'll choose that, and then also I will keep cool and reduce my stress by 1.
Okay. So you did not avoid collateral damage. I think what happens then, tell me how you destroy the android, and then I'll put some collateral damage out there.
So I was just waiting for it to go after Blaine, and just come up behind her and just shoot her in the back of the head.
Mm-hmm.
Just get close to her, and then
I think what happens then is the android, similar to how in Alien, how when Ash is heavily damaged, he just sort of like thrashes around. So it starts thrashing all around. Hydraulic fluid is spraying out of its mouth. And it bashes right into the computer, crashes right through that glass, and again, just causes more damage to this computer, to the Haven 2, before it finally, crashes to the ground. Lee, let me check in with you. So Blaine turns the pistol to you, as this happens, and he says, "Stay back.
I mean,
told you we're going to get rich.
Yeah,
It's mine."
I don't think that there's any way that Blaine would actually know that I have specifically definitely gone for his data tape rather than to help him up, right? But
Sure.
I think he's paranoid enough to be like, everyone get the hell back from me kind of thing, waving that gun around. And I got my hands up and I'm back, slightly backing away with Glover stood next to me with the fire axe, raised. And I'll be honest, I'm interested in what Amos is going to do. What's the man with the gun going to do? That's what I always have to ask.
So yeah, tell me if you want to trigger something, but otherwise, let's see what's happening with Amos. So I think you kind of look that way, and you see Amos come up, freezes as this thing unwinds from the ceiling and drops down in front of him. And like I said, it's in the movie. Well, let me just lay it out. In the movie, it would be beautiful to see how golden it looks. Go ahead.
The benefit of a quick look means I have the significant advantage. So
exactly.
I'm hoping that this thing doesn't drop in front of me because I've got a gun. It doesn't.
Sure.
I'm hoping that I've got an opportunity here to take a pot shot at it.
You do.
Before it gets up close and personal.
I have the something is out there move. Remember that one? You found that worm all ripped apart.
Yeah.
So when a threat appears, I can force you to have to stare into the void first.
Oh, I see. Okay. So
but
which
you
kind of move is
can
that?
use that. That's a threat. It's a peril move. It's the last. Is it the last one? You know what? I think
Is it a special one?
No, I think I did some edits, and I think I accidentally, looks like I overwrote it and didn't save it on the, because I don't see it here. One moment.
Hang on, it'll be in the original.
Yeah, it's in the manual. make a note to fix that for next time. It's a peril move. It's in page 12 of the manual. Stare into the void. When suddenly confronted by death, describe how you try to pull it together and do something before the threat does its worst. Okay. On a hit, you manage to act before the threat does its worst, etc., etc. So the worst here is it's going to snatch you and run off with you.
Fine.
So what we need to know is not what you do, but how you pull yourself together enough to do anything.
We see Amos lock eyes with Celestine because I have no option here. I have to pull it together to confront this,
right?
Or I'm going to go over the edge.
So your determination is what's
yeah
allowing you to act as this thing, and
a sense of obligation to Celestine. There
you go. All right. So, do you have any expertise that would help you to do that?
I think I'm combat trained.
Yeah. So you're up to 2. Is there any special piece of equipment that would help you do this? Almost always people are going to say no here, but it's possible.
The only thing that I think I could possibly do is finger the cyber ear that Celestine gave me as a physical embodiment of what I owe her. I appreciate I may be stretching it.
Or he does like to keep that for close encounters.
The shotgun?
Yeah.
Well, the shotgun's going to be good if he gets able to take a shot. Yes, it's going to be a good thing here. But this is just, I'm going to say no. I think that's probably pushing it. If Celestine had established a little more, if the two of you had, maybe yes, but no. All right. You do get significant advantage because of your quick look. You spotted it. And that takes you to 3. And then do you want to push yourself?
Yes.
If there is a time to push yourself, this would be it.
Yeah, I think I will push myself. I've added stress. Stress is now at 3. Pull 4 cards.
Pull 4 cards.
What could go wrong? Miss. Opportunity. Edge. So edge and an opportunity.
Okay, so an edge, you're going to succeed. On an edge, you have to choose one of the following. On an opportunity, you just take a stress and turn it to a triumph, and you'll cleanly be able to pull yourself together. Or you can take the edge, in which you have to gain a stress, lose an important item, or make a lot of noise and give me threat cards.
Well, you're not having any threat cards from me, Sunshine. You've got enough to be playing with at the moment. The only important item I have is that shotgun, and that is not going anywhere.
Take a stress.
So I'll just gain a stress. There's no point spending a stress to get a triumph to avoid gaining a stress.
Yeah,
so I'll just gain the stress.
Okay. All right. So your instincts, your determination, your relationship with Celestine has allowed you to take action as this xenomorph, this 8-foot-tall monstrosity descends towards you. Now, what do you do?
Now I shoot it.
Now you shoot it. Okay. All right. Do you have an expertise? Combat, marine? Yeah. Yes. Do you have the perfect tool for the job? I think short range shotgun. Absolutely. 3 cards. Do you have anything that gives you significant advantage?
What did that do?
You just used the one from Quick.
Yeah, I did. So I just add a stress.
You want to add a stress to
in order to fight and pull 3 cards.
That's right, 3. You could push yourself if you want to take another stress.
No, I've not got any left. Okay. That fills my track.
Okay.
3 cards.
Go ahead.
Miss. Dun 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 dun. Miss.
Okay. Does anybody want to try to assist in some way, helping Amos shoot at this thing? He would take a stress and then draw cards to try to hunt for some sort of hit, or just let him have his miss.
Daniel, do you want to?
I'm not sure. I think I'm really shocked about seeing what's happening. So I don't think I have the. What about you, Lee?
I mean, I will do it. Just because Daniel has a gun as well. So
yeah.
What about Glover? The fire axe.
Yeah.
That would maybe be the result of my
NPCs can't assist, but
yeah, but that might be the result of my help, right? That my ally helps out instead. So I will. So that's a point of stress, right?
it is.
To help.
I mean,
and I get to draw 3.
can I just ask a mechanical question here? Could Lee have Glover do their thing here? Or does Lee have to get in the line of fire?
That would be the next step. He could certainly say, Amos, chop that, but you could also narrate your assist that way. Sure.
I actually have. I've not had a chance to use it on anything yet. A free use of Hinder against Amos, which is also the same move as Help. So I would like to use that free use of it there.
It is specifically Hinder, though, because you've learned something to use against him, not to help him.
What was the thing I used against him again?
You learned, he told you something.
I shared my on the run story from.
Oh, you're on the run. Yeah.
It's specifically Hinder because it gives him a disadvantage to doing that. So if I allowed it to be a help, it would kind of break the rules.
Well, yeah, I guess. Or I was just thinking of it as a way that, like, the things that you could exploit against people are also signs of trust when you don't use them that way, right? But I will. I'm happy with it. I'll just spend the stress. It's just because I was looking for a chance, because I don't honestly see myself hindering Amos at any point in this game, because so far, despite his gung-ho attitude and trigger happiness, he's the most sane out of everybody that we've been with.
Perhaps, yes. Okay, so you're just going to do a regular old help.
Yeah.
So he has 3 cards showing. Oh, you know what? I just messed up. Let me see if I can get us back in. I reshuffled before we did the help. Let me put 3 misses back on the table. There. Now you should be able to draw 3 cards, Will, and let's see if you get something to help him.
There's an edge on the table as well still.
Is there? Let me read.
Yeah, over Alan's.
Huh. Is it gone now?
Yeah, it's all gone now, yeah.
All right, let me set it back up. In the middle of the table, there should be 3 misses.
Sweet. So
all right,
there can't be many misses left in there, can there?
3 more. You could get 3 more. Oh, there's an opportunity.
Triumph. Boom.
Triumph. All right. So you use the triumph, replace one of his misses. What do we see you doing to assist in saving his bacon?
I think that what it is that's that first boom, right? And the alien, like, it just glances off the alien, right? And it, like, leaps towards Amos, and it's above him, and you just hear Lee yell, Glover! And then, like, Glover comes in with a fire axe, and it goes up, like, and he steps back, and then that leaves Amos the opportunity to one more round into the alien,
All right, perfect. Okay, so let's go back to the fight move, Amos. So on a hit, you exchange harm as established. On a triumph, you get 3 picks from the pick list. You see where I'm at?
Muted.
Yeah, you're muted, Alan.
Is great harm enough to see off a full-grown alien?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
How many great harms would be?
Probably 1 more.
Okay, so I've got 3 to choose. We'll take 2 great harm.
Well, you can only choose it once. It's going to take 2
I see.
two rounds to kill this thing
okay.
with what you guys are working with. If you had a pulse, if you had like a smart rifle or a smart gun or whatever, yes, but
okay then. So cause great harm because it's necessary.
Okay.
Keep cool and reduce your stress by 1 because otherwise I can't do it again.
Yes.
And the third one is avoid collateral damage so there isn't an acid splash.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Sure. You did not choose suffer little harm. So I think what happens is you shoot it, acid sprays all over the back wall. You see, by the way, that there was a panel of the windows that had been busted out. Clearly this thing came through there. So the acid goes spraying back there. I don't know. Is glass acid resistant? I guess it is. It? I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Acid starts to eat away at the walls and the floor back behind it.
Nothing is metabolic acid proof.
True. You did not choose little harm though. So I think as it sort of, you're like chung chung, and it goes backwards, and maybe you step forward, as macho people do when they're shooting shotguns. As you blast it back, it goes back.
Can I frame this because I've got a lovely idea, I think, which is bang, bang, blows it backwards. and as Amos turns to smile at Glover and Lee, the tail whips round.
Yep, that was what I'm gonna do. So it's knocked back, but then that tail whips around. That long blade at the end is gonna potentially cause you some real damage here. This is a move we haven't done yet, and I'm glad to get it on the table. This is a special move called Suffer Serious Harm. When you suffer potentially lethal harm that might be mitigated by luck, your skills, or your gear, draw a card from the resolution deck. Draw an additional card if you have an applicable expertise. Does Amos have any expertise that would help him resist this harm?
Again, I'm gonna throw myself on your mercy in terms of marine training. You know, that last minute out the corner of your eye and just lean backwards.
Sure. I think you also have like athletic. You know, like I think
I do.
You're a pretty hardy individual. So sure, we'll give you that card. So you're up to 2 cards. The harm isn't explicitly lethal. No, it definitely wants to kill you. The harm is accidental or unintentional. No. You have sufficient body armor, cover, or a bodyguard. If you
How
want
do we
to
feel about Glover?
I don't think Glover will act as your bodyguard. He would for Lee, but I don't think he would for you. He helped you out by, landing an axe into it, but I think that's as far as he's willing to go. However, you could declare some body armor here if you wanted to. I can see that being reasonable.
I mean, I can't, to be honest. I mean, I had a chance to choose the single piece of equipment.
That's true.
I've done that.
Well, you're at 2 cards then.
Okay.
If you don't get some sort of hit, it's
I'm in
adios
trouble.
for Amos. Yeah.
Miss. As the tail swings round, we see Amos spots it. He leans away and gets an edge.
All right. On an edge, you usually gain a hurt, but might be mortally wounded if the potential harm was serious enough. I think it's pretty serious.
It is.
At point blank range, an alien tail. Alan, do you have an idea what kind of mortal wound you face? What a mortal wound means is that, again, this is under concepts. There's a handout called harm. If you look down, mortal wound, the PC is seriously injured and will eventually die. Describe the injury using the narrative as a guide. The injury means they cannot do anything more than crawl and talk. They can direct others to do things they cannot do themselves. If they receive medical care, they may reduce the injury to a hurt, but medical aid cannot aid any further within the time frame of the story.
Okay, so I think that this is I think it just slices across his abdomen, and he's leaking from having been sliced across the belly button. And he will die. This is it's gone through the body wall. We might even see some intestine. The only thing that's going to stop him actually dying in the frame of the story is if Celestine intervenes with her stapler, or maybe Lee intervenes with her stapler, and then it will be crawl and talk.
So I think what we see is that you're marching forward with your shotgun. That tail whips out. You stumble maybe one more step. You fall to your knees. Your guts start to come out. Make a note of that, and then be sure to put like mortal wound or something so we remember. You stumble to your knees, and its tail and hands reaches out to grab you. It's obviously very pleased with itself.
Roy, fucking shoot it!
Right, Roy. What do you want to do?
Okay, yeah, now I shoot it. Yes.
Now you shoot it. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay,
All right. So when you fight, you take a stress.
Okay.
You got stress to give. That's good.
Yeah.
Peril move. Fight. We've established you have expertise. Your security and whatnot. So you got 2 cards.
Yeah.
I think at this point the pistol will be enough. I think it's heavily wounded, so
Okay.
I think the pistol will give you a card for that. So you're up to 3. Anything gives you significant advantage. I think it's very pleased with itself. It's not really paying attention to you. Again, so we'll give you that. You're up to 4 cards already. So go ahead and draw. Let me recall and shuffle.
Yeah.
Can I suggest that the other person with a gun as well, Blaine, is also You know, it's like that sort of wild, like bang, 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 bang.
Yeah,
bang,
we are
because,
doing
like,
it like just
yeah.
wildly, Leslie.
Because
Right.
why would you not do that if it's a huge monster that's just ripped apart the guy with a shotgun?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so 4 cards, right?
4 cards.
Miss, edge, and a miss.
Okay. So on a fight, on an edge, you establish harm is established. You get to choose 2.
I will help.
You want to help?
Yeah, because I
Okay.
don't want another person to get badly and mortally injured in the.
All right. So max out your stress,
Mhm.
and you get to draw 2 cards because Roy has only the 2 cards showing.
I know he's still got that secret
Yeah.
card on the
Still
table.
got a secret. Yeah.
Oh dear. Just an edge.
Nothing new. All right. So we
Nothing
stick with
new.
the edge. So on an edge, you exchange harm is established, and then Roy, you get to choose 2 from the pick list.
Okay.
I say if you want to finish it, you're going to have to choose great harm. I'll tell
Great
you that
harm.
much.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So I choose that, and I don't know if anything else makes sense, but maybe I will avoid collateral damage.
Suffer little harm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to save yourself, or you want to save Amos?
I can only patch up so many people.
Well, yeah. Okay. But Amos is already hurt. He's not gonna get hurt more, I guess.
Oh, he'll get hurt more.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I avoid collateral damage. I just go right there into save.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what happens, you shoot at it, it turns hissing and runs at you. Thump, 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 thump. You shoot it, it goes limp, but as it dies, it rams right into you. Okay. And you're going to suffer some harm. I think we're going to give you, I think we're going to have you do the same move that Alan just did. I think we're going to have you do suffer serious harm.
Okay.
So this is under special moves. So let me recall and shuffle. So do you have any expertise that would help you survive being rammed into by a dying xenomorph?
I don't think.
No, it's a very specific skill.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still very curious what's underneath that agenda. Is there nothing under there?
There is something.
Yeah,
but
if your agenda fits, this might be a good time to play it, but it's up to you.
I hope I get a chance to.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I can play it now. I'm not.
Okay. Yeah, they each have a specific little way that you have to, there's a certain setup you have to do to play it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any expertise to help you here. Do you have the perfect tool for the job? Any piece of equipment? No, we're not doing that. Expertise it's not explicitly, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the unintentional. I think it's more just the dying body ramming into is probably more harmful than the intention. So we'll give you that one. So you're up to 2. Do you have body armor, cover, or a bodyguard?
Not really.
No, I can't think of anything.
No.
No. So you're at 2 cards, I think.
Okay. So the first card is miss, and the second is also a miss.
Okay. You can assist on this if anybody wants to assist. Otherwise, it's the end of
Glover.
Glover can't assist. Only PCs.
So basically, do you want to spend your last stress, Alan? Because I'm stressed out.
Yeah.
To give Daniel 2 more cards.
Yeah, I'm prepared to spend a stress.
Right.
Because I'm going to try and shoot a leg out from under.
Now remember, though, we have this.
I can't do anything.
Yeah, you can only walk or crawl, or you can only crawl or talk. Now you can certainly narrate some way you're helping him through your voice.
I mean, like that seems a pretty cool. He's still just like he's not crawling. He's just.
All right, with your last urge. Okay, go ahead.
I've got a flashback aboard the Gibraltar. Callow security officer. And I said to him, I used to know somebody like you. No experience for the job. Poorly equipped, both physically and mentally. His name was Gorman. I want you to be better than Gorman was.
Okay.
Okay. So you see maybe over your shoulder as this thing's careening towards you, you see Amos, giving you a meaningful look.
Remember fucking Gorman.
Let's see if it helps. You get Alan, take your last stress. You're going to draw one card for each one that Roy has showing, which is 2.
2. Okay. So
looking
here
for
we go.
some sort of hit.
That's an edge.
There it is. He's going to live. There you go.
And a miss.
All right, edge. On an edge, you usually get hurt, but might be more. I think we'll just give you a hurt. I don't think it's going to be quite as serious as what Alan had to face.
Okay.
So we will say. It careens into you, knocks you to the side. It goes out. It crashes through the glass. The dead body of the xenomorph tumbles 100 meters to the ground below in the garden. You're going to suffer a fractured arm. How's that sound?
Okay. If I may suggest maybe some, because the xenomorph was wounded, so maybe some
acid
damage also.
Yeah, we
really
should get
an
some
alien
acid
game
there.
if no one has an
Yeah,
acid
we need
burn.
some acid damage, right?
Yeah.
So right arm acid burns. How's that?
Okay,
so
great.
Your right arm is going to be useless until you get some medical care.
Okay, great.
And I think with
Glover
that,
tears the sleeve off to stop it getting worse.
Right,
I want Glover to do something.
Well, he used the axe to
Saved your life.
save you.
Yeah.
I mean, the axe is now, eaten away by the axe is gone because it's eaten away by acid. Okay, I think that's a very good time. And we created a lot of havoc and turmoil there. We've got several characters, 2 characters completely maxed out on stress. We will leave you there for today. We'll, figure out the fallout when we pick up next week for our finale. I think we're set up nicely.
There is a scene in what is now a very dubious film called Zulu, where one of the NCOs, as he is incinerated in a burning hospital fire, shouts at one of the anti-hero characters, I knew it, Hookie. I could make a soldier of you yet.
Yeah, the classic movie. All right, I showed that movie to my 9-year-old son and his friends, and they quoted that movie for weeks. They love that movie. I think all young boys need to see Zulu.
Still makes me cry when they sing Men of Halle.
There you go. All right, so let's call it there for today. Let's do some stars and wishes. Especially curious on wishes, because feel free to set up what you want to see for our finale. Speaking meta is perfectly fine, as we've done several times today. In fact, let me speak there. I think that's a very good thing to do in a game like this. You just lay out the meta of where the story's going, making it clear everyone's on board. Speaking out of character, I think is perfectly good. We did that very nicely today. I think that helps everybody to stay on target and know what to do and what they want to do. So I appreciated everybody doing that today. I'll come back around for some other thoughts, but let me get your stars and wishes. Let me start with Daniel today.
Okay, so my star definitely to all the characters, and because everyone is very distinct now, and to see how they will, sort this out, and I really feel like a narrative connection which goes both ways, and this is really great, and the story is just. It's great. It took me a little while to pick up the pieces, but with the fighting AIs and Blaine and everything, it really feels like an alien movie, and one of the better ones. And this is really good. And I mechanically everything works well, and I really like the suffer serious harm move. It's very similar to Cartel's get fucking shot move, and I like that as well. So it builds up the tension, and it keeps it, and it's really a great, very enjoying. Even if when I'm on the taking my character is taking the harm.
Okay, great. Any specific wishes for the last session?
Well, no, everything is working great. I wish to meet the criteria of revealing my agenda card, and that's all. That's all there is.
Yeah, and those. I mean, I don't know if you need it or not, but feel free to jump in and be like, "Hey, can we have this here?" If you need something to set the stage for you revealing that card, feel free to jump in and be like, hey, can we do this? And of course I'll say yes.
Yeah, I think I'll do that if appropriate in the final
Sure.
session.
Once we go around, I'm going to ask kind of the group, the table, this idea of how do you want to finish? I think we started to touch on this as like, are you guys planning, do you want to have like the escape craft here and then jump in and just go and let the consequences go where they will? Or do you plan to go down into the deep down into the core way at the bottom of the station and like do that whole thing? Start thinking about that, and we'll get everybody's ideas. So that'll help me sort of like set things up for next week. But let's go to Will for stars and wishes.
Wishes wise, I think that we are pretty close to the escape shuttle right now, and I think it would be cool for there to be some direct narrative exposition of like, well, we've taken out Intruder, but we need to take out like disable Haven's thing before we can use the shuttle because it's also trying to kill and infect us. Like go back on what we said earlier about Haven, and it'd be like there's a reason to go to another bit of the station first, kind of stuff. Maybe that might involve a trip outside the station, going to the core from the outside. I don't know. That might be cool, just as an idea. Just to skip through having to traverse the entire station again. And otherwise, I think my wish would be to at some point be able to engineer towards doing Lee's best to stop Blaine from taking these things off the ship, but perhaps like in a more sneaky way, rather than, she's not really the type to like wheel a gun and shoot people. She's not that far, but she'd try and, slip it from his pocket or something in a moment. But I'd go back to my stars. We fought an alien. It was pretty lethal. I loved it. I love the Amos shot. I like the idea of those guns being drawn and the alien leaping in and that whole chaos of it all. And then, another star to I guess the players and the MC for, letting me play Lee as quite a like an aggressive person. Like I know I did punch Dr. Syndergaard, right? But like everyone's wielding guns and throwing them around, and like I'm just like, whoa, guys, stop, kind of thing, which is putting a lot of agency onto you guys, because I'm just going like, no, taking a step back from the escalation. But I appreciate, that play isn't sort of leaving you guys just go like, oh, what do you want? What do I do? Sort of thing. So right. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'm curious to see it. I mean, where you take it. You haven't shot any guns. You've been this sort of peacemaker. Whether you have your Ripley and the aliens thing, where you just fuck it and you load up and turn to guns, or you just stay with it.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind picking up a gun somewhere along the lines, I guess. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay, great. Alan.
Yeah, stars. Yeah, I want to give Will a star because there was a point where he said, "Can we just have the meta conversation?" Because I think there was a point there where I wasn't entirely certain. It's one of those circumstances where you're in a mystery game, and you're thinking, "I'm no longer quite certain what the mystery is, or how I get to the denouement." And thank you, Will, for kind of stepping in and saying, "Can we just have the conversation about what we know, what we think we know?" Because that made things moving forward much simpler for me. So thank you for that. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I was glad we got to use quick look, because when I was kind of, in terms of feedback, when I was going through it, I was thinking, well, when am I going to use quick look? So I was glad that we had an opportunity to see that in action. I think it's quite a useful move. I suppose I don't know why anyone wouldn't quick look before doing whatever they're going to do, and it mechanically interests me whether that's what it's set up to do.
Well, lots and lots and lots of PBTA games have that move, but you rarely see people turn to it. Like the players, You're absolutely right. It's a good idea to do it a lot, but people don't. Not just this game, but lots of games, people don't actually do it. But yeah, I mean, there's always, like in all PBTA games, the downside is that whenever you roll the dice, you might get a miss, which is just going to get the GM. I mean, there's always that, but otherwise, no, there's not really a downside.
So I think that might get used more as things get tighter, when we get a bit iffy. So yeah, stars for managing all of that, I think. And in terms of wishes, I mean, part of me does want Lee to have the Ripley moment as something threatens. What's her name?
Hawkins.
Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Hawks or whatever it is.
We decided on
there-
Hawkins. Yeah.
Oh, Hawkins.
Yeah.
There is something I think about how we get everybody back together, so we have more people who can either be thrown in front of an alien or can be saved from an alien. I quite like that. And I'm actually, Will, I'm very intrigued with this idea of it might be easier to go round the outside than down through the middle.
Right.
And I think you're right. I don't think we can take the risk of getting in any shuttle at this point until we know that we can't be blown out of the sky or whatever it was.
Well,
Mhm.
it occurs to me that if maybe one fictional explanation for it all could be that like we can disable whatever destroyed our ship here, right? But we can't detach the escape ship that's actually got the cryo sleepers and the FTL
Mm.
drive. But our small shuttle, perhaps we can undo the lock and it can go out the ship, and then Styles and Hawkins can pick us up, and then we can traverse around the outs, because that hasn't, as far as I'm aware, got like interstellar capabilities, you know, like, so it's like a, you know, need a ride, guys, kind of thing. As we
Exactly.
or, you know, just because I fictionally struggle with spacewalking with like 8 of us, you know.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. And of course there is the question of do we kill Blaine and take the copy of that he has, or are we going to go along with him, or are we going to both kill him and destroy what he has? And I
Mhm.
think we may all have a slightly different, you know, Mexican standoff around that at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that maybe Lee, if in a high drama moment, would kill Blaine rather than let him escape. You know, let him spread that across the line, but it'd be pushed to the edge, right? You know, and she would definitely kill another human being to stop another human being from being harmed.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so
And I suppose the only other wish I have is that we do have enough medical supplies left to staple my gut back together so I can be hurt and do more than just crawl and talk.
Right. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of medical aid. We should have Paul back with us next week. He's got medical skills, so Lee and Celestine might be busy. Okay, great. So yeah, I think Daniel, do you have any other ideas of like how you would like to see the story go? Whether you just jump in a shuttle and take off, or whether you try to shut down the Haven core at the bottom of the station? You have any 2 cents on that?
I'm not sure. I think it depends on how much time we will have for this tomorrow. Maybe, you know, the shuttle is the final goal in a way. But
Right.
if we resolve the first thing early, then we can have this like extra twist to go for the. I would, you know, that'd be a good idea. Yeah.
Sure. I think in terms of the story, like we said, I mean, if you just want to be selfish, we can have the shuttle come pick you up and you can just fly off into space. You know, your lives will be okay. You'll be spreading this corrupt AI throughout the universe, you know. Or if you want to be a goddamn hero, you can try to find a way down into the core at the bottom and shut that down so that it can't spread, right? That's really the question. And maybe we'll just play it in character and we'll see what happens.
there's also all the people who are still on the station who, if we don't stop then in theory a bunch of colonial marines could come in and clean house, right? Like this could be saved if we
Sure.
don't, you know.
Apart from the abominations, I don't see Haven having a long life.
No, yeah.
Probably not. There's a whole
Because
bunch of people in
it would be-
cryosleep sleeping away, you know, in the
Exactly,
vaults.
and
Yeah.
they'll never know what happened.
Right.
So I mean, I'm hoping that the computer core is next to the fusion reactor.
Right. Okay. All right. So we'll pick up there. We'll sort that out when we play next. I think we're in good shape in terms of time. We have a full session, so we can certainly go in any of these directions, and we'll create a session out of it. It should go well. What was I going to say? Oh, is it okay to put it on YouTube? Now, this is for sessions 2, 3, and 4. I know Daniel wasn't here for 3. Was everybody good? I'll ask Paul next week. All
I
right,
doubt very
great.
much Paul will have a problem, I'll be honest.
Probably, yeah, I imagine. Let's see, what was I going to say? I'll fix. I felt bad that I edited out that stare into the void move. I'll put that back into all of our handouts. Something else I was going to say. I mean, it's just great play. I mean, it's, top of, in terms of my gaming experiences this year, this is way up in the list. Today's session and this whole game is, this is what I love. This is just, obviously the setting and everything is my favorite, but you guys killed it today. Amos shooting, Cream Wilson in the head. I was having fun playing Cream Wilson. He just killed him. That was hilarious. Alan does that all the time when I play with you. Do something just off the cuff that makes me shocked. So I like it. Great. I've got all kinds of really good cards, threat cards. So I've got all kinds of good stuff I can do to you guys next week. I'm excited for. But I think that's it. So thank you very much, everybody. I will see you next week for the finale.
See you
Cheers,
guys.
guys.
Thank you. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
See you then.